still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Close to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you. From the inside out, it's time to say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it out. It's your time, it's your time. Oh, if you're on the bus, say yeah. Yeah. If you're on the train, say yeah. Yeah. If you gotta walk, say yeah. Yeah. Everybody's going somewhere. Yeah. Young or old, I really don't care. Yeah. Life has never really been fair. Yeah. So put your fist up in the air. Yeah. Say yeah. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it out. It's your time, it's your time. Oh.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent. You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info about it? Hey, yo, John O. B. the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Red Tag. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at.
All right, good morning, party people. Welcome back to the last honest place in Cincinnati media. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, brought to you by the good folks over at CDM. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, come on in, everybody. Come on in. How are you? Hope you've had a great 24 hours. I know I have. It's great to be alive. Now, on today's show, I want to talk about numerous things. As you can see with the cover story here, this is a story from Ohio. So this is in our backyard, family. If you live in the city of Cincinnati or in Ohio. She was arrested for leaving her kids in a motel while she went to work. And there's been an avalanche of support out there. Last I checked, which was last East, over $80,000, or should I say supporters raised over $80,000 for her. And I'm very happy to hear that. Shayna Bell, 24 years old, was arrested after the police got a tip that the woman's children, a 10-year-old girl and a 2-year-old girl, so she has 2 daughters, were left unattended at a Motel 6, y'all. And what was this woman doing? She wasn't selling drugs. She was not selling drugs. A lot of people have to do. You know what I'm saying? Many people are getting up to go to work right now. I'm at work right now. Hey, good morning to you. Welcome back to the show. I'm at work right now. Hopefully we're looking and sounding good. I know I need a cut. I'll take care of that later. We'll take care of that later. But so just think about it. This woman is just working. She going to work, working hard for her family. And somebody tips off the police like, hey, her kids are at a Motel 6. She was working at a pizza restaurant. So she hustling pizzas to take care of her children. And apparently she had somebody that was checking on her kids. Somebody started a GoFundMe account and it's raised over $80,000. As a matter of fact, some celebrities have gotten involved and raised some money as well. I was glad to hear that. Because I got mixed feelings about this. And I think this is more, let's say that all of the facts that I'm hearing so far and I've articulated to you are in fact true. This tells me that this is a systematic failure. Yet another reason why we need the Democrats to go big. Go big, Joe Biden. I'm disappointed in Joe Biden. I'm disappointed that Joe Biden will not stand firm to alleviate via executive order as much debt, as much student loan debt as he possibly can. Joe Biden is making a mistake. He is making a mistake. And see, this is the difference between like a middle of the road Democrat and a progressive. A progressive Democrat is trying to alleviate 50 grand. Boom. A progressive Democrat via executive order is trying to make a real mark, right? A real dent to really make a difference in the lives of working class people. But we'll get to that. So to me, if all of these facts are true, because these stories come out, the facts change. To me, this is commentary about the system. This is an unfortunate circumstance of a lot of people. First thing I thought was, where's the kids' father? It's the first thing that jumped in my head. I mean, that might be the man in me, the father in me, but first thing I thought was, where's the father? Where's dad at? Why wasn't dad with the kids? I don't know the backstory on that. Maybe you do. Where is dad? If it's anybody's fault, it's dad's fault. Now, if dad is at work, cool. But if mom has to work, then dad, whether you're in a relationship or not, should be with the kids. I don't know the circumstances of it, but we can talk about it this morning. 513-873-7134. This is why the minimum wage needs to be radically upped. 15, it needs to be 20. Yeah, I said it. This is why we need radical change. We need a radical social movement for working class families, black, white, brown, you name it. This is why. Here's another example of it. And now some people are calling out the hypocrisy of just the legal system because you never can tell. Like here in Hamilton County, we had a case where a white woman, she was a white female. She forgot her child in a hot car for 8 hours. The child died a grisly death. And the current Hamilton County prosecutor decided, you know what? No crime here. He did not charge her. And so people from who remember that, or they've got a similar, circumstance wherever they live at, because this happened in Hamilton County. And then it also happened out in Mason. They're going to bring this up. Now, it's a bit unfair because we're talking about different times, different locales, different prosecutors, in some cases, different circumstances. But generally speaking, it seems to me that across the board, because white people have been prosecuted for this. There was a dude down in Atlanta that, oops, my God, my bad, forgot his kid in the car. He basically was trying to get rid of his kid. See, that's the untold story with this. There's some people that have children, and then they're like, oh, I didn't know this shit was going to be like this. I want out. And so they think they're smart. They try to come up with these ways to get rid of their children, talking about, oh, I was overworked. That's what happened here. There was so much sympathy. So all the people that had sympathy with that woman here in Cincinnati, she was a doctor, I believe. She was a professional. And she was just so overworked that she forgot her child. I'll never forget this. Like I said, I don't know how you vote, but I could never vote for Joe Dieters for anything. I wouldn't vote for Joe Dieters to hold the rulers. Like rulers, measurements. He couldn't even clean the chalkboard for me. Joe Dieters is one of the most inept white men in Hamilton County, but yet he still keeps this high-profile job. He is inept. The only thing he's good at is flexing, especially when the perpetrator of the crime is black. He is great at that. The only thing he's good at is taking money that should be going back into the community and giving it to his friends via the drug forfeiture laws in the state of Ohio. He's great at that. If you want to take some drug forfeiture money and then reallocate it to your buddies, call Joe Dieters. He is A1 at that. Anything else, he is an absolute clown. He is an absolute clown, period. I stand by my words. You know it and I know it. He is a buffoon. The way he prosecuted that Ray Tinson case, I don't understand why the media still isn't talking about it. It was terrible. Everything about the prosecution was terrible. Everything. Straight Keystone Cop. But he's running around here getting respect. Y'all do what you want to do, man. I mean, I know he's a Hamilton County prosecutor and all. It is what it is, but everybody got different standards. My standards are a little higher, I guess, than other people, the majority of Hamilton County voters. I can't never do it. And like I said, I don't even know what child abuse is anymore. Because if in Hamilton County, you can forget your child in a hot car and your child, an infant, an innocent, dies a grisly death and you get no charges, well, damn it, I should be able to leave my kids in the car and go into Walmart. If you can leave your kids in Hamilton County in a car on one of the hottest days of the year, like, oops, my bad, I didn't know it was hot in August. It's the hottest month of the year, right? In this region. If you can do that, you can do anything to a child. I should be able to leave my kids, no matter what their age is, in anywhere and go anywhere and get away with it, because she got away with it. Now, of course, we're talking about two different jurisdictions, because this is happening up in Ohio, not in Hamilton County, in northern Ohio, north of Cincinnati. And the story I'm telling you about, that I'm talking about right now, happened in Cincinnati. So I completely understand that we're talking about two different prosecutors, two different times, two different jurisdictions. I completely understand that. I'm just making a point about Joe Dieters. I don't understand the love affair. He must make white voters comfortable. White voters must be and even some black voters must be comfortable in all that super TNT Joe stuff. I don't see it. I don't hear it. I think he's a straight up coward. He wouldn't even talk with the NAACP, but he's got TNT. TNT my ass. Remember that? You don't get no respect from me, but y'all keep doing what you want to do, and you keep getting what you want to get, or keep getting what you get, what you vote for. So I don't get it. Like I said, I don't get what crimes against children in Hamilton County really are. Because if leaving your kid in a hot car for 8 hours in one of the hottest days of the year, the child dies strapped into the back seat of the fucking car. Mom gets out the car, grabs donuts from the back of the car, and goes into her job talking about she forgot, she's overworked, and gets no charges. None. Zero charges. Because he's feeling sympathy. She suffered enough. She ain't suffer as much as her child did. So when I see stories like this, I have sympathy. You know what I'm saying? My first question is, where in the fuck is dad? Dad should be with the kids. She's trying to make things happen at the pizza parlor. Dad, no matter what the relationship, should be with the children so mom can handle that work and the kids can still be safe. That should not be put on a 10-year-old. I mean, that's just my saying it. Y'all might have more details. I want to get your thoughts on it. 513-873-7134. Let's talk about ride or die relationships. Are you in a ride or die relationship? That's what I want to know. Just think about it real quick. Do a Yahoo search of your own relationship real quick and tell me if you feel like you're in a ride or die relationship. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. I want to talk about Lakita Cole, my good buddy Lakita Cole. She can't stand my guts, probably even to this day, and I'll tell you why in a second for the umpteenth time. That's all I got is old stories, okay? I'm making some new stories too, but it is what it is. It's free. Comes with the price of admission, right? So Lakita Cole, black female Democrat who was on city council for like 7 years. Y'all might have voted for her. And she has been arrested. Did you hear about this? She's been arrested because allegedly she hid a fugitive in her home. Yeah, they got the mugshot assist up and everything. Oh man, I'm not happy to see this, man. You know me. I hate to see anybody get caught up in the system. But I really hate to see black folks get caught up in the system. I hate to see it. I hope this sis gets through this. I hope she beats it. Even though I know she can't stand my guts, but I hope she beats it. Former Cincinnati City Council member charged with hiding a fugitive. You know what's funny, man? And shout out to Grizz, My Two Cents podcast. You know what I'm saying? I was watching a podcast not too long ago, and they actually had Lakita Cole, and I believe this brother as well were on that show. I thought it was interesting. They were talking about stuff completely. They were talking about like the motorcycle club culture and stuff like that. You know, this is what I do. So I try to stay on top of what everybody else is doing, right? And I'm just bringing that up for a reference point. But so apparently the man on the right got into some legal troubles. And police are saying that Lakota Cole hid him. His name is William Cromwell in her home and gave him a phone. Apparently, Mr. Cromwell is wanted on child support charges and for a fatal drunk driving crash in Indiana in 2020. Hear about this? So apparently, you know, the police knocked on the door looking for him. She's like, nah, he ain't here. I don't have all the background story and everything. You might have more than I do. So please feel free to share in the comment section. But apparently, you know, they found him in the place. And, you know, there it is. There it is. She gets charged with obstructing the arrest of a suspect. And again, some very serious charges, not the least of one included a fatality in a traffic accident. Indiana police were looking for this man, quote unquote, for causing the death when operating a vehicle while intoxicated. So just from what that sounds like is police are alleging or believe that Mr. Cromwell was driving while drunk or under the influence, got into an accident and killed somebody. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just telling you that's what it appears the allegation is. So sheriff deputy showed up, or officer showed up, and she told the officers that he was not there, right? And they found him there. Now, of course, Lakita Cole was elected to 4 consecutive terms on city council between 2003 and 2009. And she's been charged with 1 count of obstructing justice after law enforcement officials found Mr. Cromwell in her home shortly after she said he was not there. She was booked into the Hamilton County Justice Center yesterday, and apparently is supposed to go before the judge today. Ain't that some ish? Somebody in the Friends page was like, man, they going after all the black politicians. I mean, I can totally understand why people might feel that way. I totally understand it. I mean, look, right now we talking about Fred Hampton and the things that happened with the Black Panthers because of some new media that's putting that out there in the forefront of everybody's, you know, consciousness. Everybody's talking about it. So I get it. COINTELPRO, I get it. I'm not so sure if that's what this is. I'm not sure that's what this is. If you look at, I don't know, I think what we might be talking about is a series of self-inflicted wounds. I mean, you talk about Tamaya Denard, again, I feel for sis. You know what I'm saying? If I would have had 10 grand, she asked me, I'd have gave it to her. I'd have gave it to her just because I didn't want to see her out here playing herself. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of unscrupulous people out there that'll do you dirty when they think that you need something when you down. It's a lot of people like that, black and white. It's a lot of folks like that. But that didn't happen. She made her decisions, self-inflicted wounds. Jeff Pastor at this point is innocent until proven guilty. But if these allegations prove out to be true, self-inflicted wound, you know what I'm saying? Nobody tell you to try to do all this. And same thing with Lakita Cole. I mean, this is all preliminary and really, really early. So maybe the story might change. But let's say we go with what's in the media right now, just for the sake of conversation. Self-inflicted wound. But again, I got to ask myself, would I do anything different? And I'll be honest with you. Big part of me says no. Y'all come looking for the wifey, you're going to have to find her. I don't know what she is. She can be right upstairs. I don't know. Well, who? Never heard of her. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing. I had a stroke. I can't talk. Whatever it takes. Are you in a ride or die relationship with you? Let's say you're in a relationship with somebody. Boyfriend, longtime friend, you got a situationship, you got a child with them, y'all married, whatever the level may be. And they get themselves into some legal problems. You know what I'm saying? You love them, you support them. The boy's looking for me. I need to do something. Hire me out. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do if you were the person who had the legal issues? Like, what's the expectation is? So I go out there and let's say I get into a vehicular, an accident in a vehicle and I kill somebody. I'm running from the law now. What should be my expectations from the people that I have relationships with? I don't know. You tell me. 513-873-7134. Ride or die relationships. What do you think about the allegations against Lakita Cole? What would you do? What would you do? That's a tough one, though. I mean, you love this person. Y'all ride together. Y'all got a relationship. Maybe y'all got children together. You don't know what really happened because you weren't there. They're telling you one thing. You know the law after them. You get a knock on the door. Hey, is Nathan here? What's the wifey supposed to do? She goes, yeah, he's upstairs. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think it depends on the circumstances. I think it depends on your relationship with this person. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm certainly not going to do anything for somebody that's not willing to do it for me. You already know that. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm dealing with somebody that's willing to do that for me, we're going to the ends of the earth. To the ends of the earth. I mean, I would do whatever it took to protect the wifey. Give a damn what she did, unless she did some real foul stuff. Like, there's a limit to everything now. I remember when we was first dating many years ago. First dating, we weren't married. We was just in the kicking. We were in a situation shit. And I'm in her crib. She had an apartment in Clifton. I'm in her crib. I'm chilling. I think I'm waiting for her to come home from work. I think she had a cat, so I was feeding the cat or something like that. Get a knock on the door. Who is this? Open the door. It's two men in suits. Who is this? FBI. Apparently, at that point, she's now the wifey. At that point, she was the girlfriend. She had lost her wallet. Somebody stole her wallet she was in the hospital. That's a big place for that kind of thing to happen. Somebody got into her purse, stole her identity, and was out there on a spending spree, was caught up with some drug stuff. It was a big deal. She had to go to Columbus, man, back and forth. She had to prove all these documents, all this kind of stuff, man. Ultimately, she was A1. But I remember that feeling I got like, what'd she do? She came home afterward because she wasn't there. It was like, is such and such here? I'm like, nah, she ain't here. But it was the truth. She wasn't there. Man, I called her so quick. Back then, cell phones were bigger. I called her so quick. I was like, what you do? Right? We laugh at it to this point. We laugh at it at this point. At that point, she was just a girlfriend. So my ties and connection to her was nowhere near what it is today. So I was on some, who am I sleeping with? Who are you kind of stuff. It all worked out. It was all innocent, right? But what would you do? What would you do? What would you do in a situation like that? What's the right thing to do? What's the wrong thing to do? Are you willing to get an obstruction of justice charge to protect a loved one? 513-873-7134. Are you willing to do that? Is it unfair to even ask that? Because sometimes, because of relationships, people will ask you to do something that's completely unfair. Sometimes people will ask you to do things that they wouldn't even do for you. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know what you think about this. 513-873-7134. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And good morning. Hope you're doing well. Let's get into it. I'm looking for, we can rock with this. That works. Good morning to you. CG Dub is first inside the Chop Shop. She writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you, CG Dub. Fox writes, rise and shine, young stars. Good morning to you. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan the Choppers. Good morning to you, Sharp. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan the Choppers. Good morning to you. Wish you all the best. Have a great week, Ashley. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag Team and I. Stimmy Hardaway writes, the weed dealing colored preacher will receive an honor from the city hall today, and it's shameful that a man of God will sell drugs in addition to faith in God's will. Talk about he gonna invest the funds into the black community. Y'all seen too many movies. Drug dealers are selfish by nature. Shaking my head. You talking about Reverend Lynch? You still on that, man? You wrong about that too, bro. Nobody has a problem with Reverend Lynch doing what he's doing. Actually, he's doing God's work, quite honestly, if you really think about it. Because I don't know about you, brother, and maybe you should do some research on this, or maybe I should. Let me deliver these flows and we can decide. But there are certain ailments, there are certain conditions, there are certain chronic conditions that human beings deal with, especially as they get up in age, and especially if they haven't been taking care of themselves, for which modern medicine has prescribed a whole lot of over-the-counter drugs, man-made drugs. And the accumulated effect of taking these man-made drugs can be even worse on your body than the ailment that you're taking to get relief from. And that's where medicinal marijuana comes in. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people are turning toward medicinal marijuana when they have some of these chronic conditions, brother. Let me educate you real quick, so I can tell you don't know, right? And the reason why is because they can get the symptoms that will alleviate either the pain or whatever the symptoms are without the long-term disastrous health effects. I mean, just so you know. You know what I'm saying? There's a price to pay to take your aspirin every day for the rest of your life. There's a price to pay on your body for taking some of these over-the-counter drugs that modern medicine has prescribed. And what smart people have figured out is that that's where CBD oil comes in. That's where, medicinal marijuana comes in, that you can alleviate whether it be pain or some other symptoms without long-term, and in some cases, deadly side effects from taking these man-made drugs, just so you know. So when you put it that way, I think Lynch is doing God's work. I mean, it grows from the earth, right? God created earth. So I ain't caught up with all that drug dealer stuff, man. I don't have no problem with drug dealers. We love drug dealers. Quit acting like we don't love drug dealers, whether it be sugar or fast food or porn or whatever. Drugs, maybe be street drugs, marijuana, alcohol. Come on, man, please. We love drugs in this country. Stop it. Tracy writes, hi. Minister of Information writes, what's up, Nate? What up with you, Minister? Fox writes, fame, just because y'all folks call it drugs don't mean it is. It's medicine, family. Free your mind. Fox, I ain't even read that. But see, we on the same wavelength. I don't know what that brother talking about. Let me see here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Brenda writes, happy Thursday. Let me see. Good morning, Drop. Nate, I'm gonna need you to get this sound up and running on Spreaker. I can't cut up on Facebook. Oh, okay. Really? Huh? Why not? Let me see here. Let me double check. I can see that. On Spreaker. What I may do is, how can I fix this? What I may do is to cut this line on the audio and then restart it. So let me do that for you folks. I'm gonna cut the audio for Spreaker, start it, okay? And I think that will alleviate the issue. Okay, give me 1 second here so I gotta repost it now. What are we talking about? Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna restart it again. So I just restarted it to all my audio folks, and hopefully you're good. Now, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, listen, if you like this live stream and you want to figure out how to make your live stream look like this, then hit me with a DM. I'd love to work with you. It's very simple process. I spent a lot of time working on this over the years. I want to share with you. All right, good morning. 513-873-7134. That is my number. If you'd like to share your thoughts this morning, I would love to hear it. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Jerica's in the house. What's up, Jerica? She writes, hola, beautiful black people, and the others too. Sheila writes, good morning, everyone. Jerica writes, what ages are the children? As I understand it, one was 10 and the other, two girls, the other is 2. So 10 and 2. So you know what that means? That means a 10-year-old is taking care of the 2-year-old. And I'm trying to think, my daughter at 10 years old, we never was in that situation because she's exactly 10 years older than her brother. So there was no way we were going to leave a 10-year-old with an infant. At this point, she's 15 and she's far more capable. She's far more capable of sort of watching out. I still don't like to leave them alone because I don't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come home and find something has happened to them. And so it's very rare that we do that, even though she's 16-year-old. The way I look at it is that's my children. It's not hers. Her job is to be a child. Her job is to be 15. My job is to take care of her and her brother. Okay, so that's on me and her mom, right? But you got to do what you got to do. Like I used to watch my little brothers. My mother would go out and go working, and I didn't like it. You know, I used to resent it. Like, damn, these are your children. Why am I gotta watch them? I want to do some other stuff, whatever I was on trying to do. I guess I was playing Tecmo Bowl or whatever it was. And then, you know, in a situation like that, your little brothers and sisters don't always listen to you. You know what I'm saying? So then you got to be all big brother on them. But 10 and 2, that's not a good age. You know, 10 years old to me is too young to be watching a kid. That's just me. Okay. But mom has to do what mom has to do. I don't blame the 10-year-old. I want to know, where is dad? If mom is out here making it happen and hustling pizzas, dad, the biological father, should be there to watch the children. That's dad's time. We're going to dad's house. That's what it should be, in my opinion. Jacqueline writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Jacqueline. Brandy writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Sheila writes, true, Nate. Danita's in the house. She writes, good morning. Drop is talking about Rush Limbaugh, who passed away. Yeah, between yesterday and today, we found out that Rush Limbaugh passed away. And Rush Limbaugh at some point was called, hold on 1 second. So Rush Limbaugh, the GOAT of talk radio. Rush Limbaugh, is he the GOAT of talk radio? He is in a sense. You know, it's almost like being the GOAT of Major League Baseball during the Negro Leagues, when black people weren't allowed to be and compete against Babe Ruth and all those. Like, you'll never know how great they really were because they didn't have a lot of competition. Because of the laws that were changed in the mid-90s that opened the door for media consolidation, that opened the door for the rise of right-wing radio. Before the internet took off, you had YouTube and Instagram and all these kind of things. You had people who were listening to talk radio. You know, I'm of that era. You know, I fell in love with talk radio with a local personality but was forced to listen to people all over the country. And part of the reason why I wanted to get into the talk radio game is because I never saw somebody like me. I didn't see a lot of black faces. I didn't see a lot of black people in the talk radio game. I just didn't see it. And so I was always interested in doing it myself and sort of forging my own path. But in terms of Rush Limbaugh, yeah, I mean, I'm of that generation where I listened to Rush. There was a time in my life where I listened to Rush almost every day, primarily in college. So I would have classes Monday through Friday, and then at least 2 or 3 times a week, I can't remember how many times it was, I, just because of the structure of my classes, would have lunch at the Tangeman University Center, TUC. And so I would go in there, and they had a room where you could eat lunch, and I would sit in there and listen, to Rush Limbaugh. If I remember correctly, I can't remember if it was on my radio, like a little like mobile radio that had like a cassette thing, but you could also pick up radio frequencies. I'm telling you, it's going back to ancient history, right? And I'll sit there and listen to Rush Limbaugh because I love the medium, and there was no one else to listen to. I had no choices. I was a captive audience. Man, Rush Limbaugh at the time was the biggest, and to this day remains at the top of listenership in terms of total listeners every single week, way into the millions. I think that Rush Limbaugh was a bigot, and he knew he was a bigot, and he would do the same thing that Trump did. Like Rush pathed the way for Trump in a way, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. He kind of pathed the way. Rush was the voice of white male angst in this country. And it is what it is. I mean, is he influential? Will he go down as an icon in media? Oh, absolutely. I think he was a racist, bigoted bastard who was willing to walk that line, even if that meant inflaming things that was not true, inflaming racism and racial tensions. He parlayed all of that into a very successful radio career, made a lot of money. So I don't know if he's going to hell or heaven. His passing is inconsequential to me on a personal level, other than something to talk about. And that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? The world is so much different now because you've got YouTube, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you got social media, where you got so many voices out there. So it's a whole different world out there now. It's a whole different world. And I like this world much better. I like this world much better, quite honestly. Much better. Let me pack up. Let me catch back up here. Charles writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Carolyn writes, no sound on Spreaker, Nate. I think I've taken care of that. Yep. Thank you, Cassandra. She writes, your audio is back. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened. Things happen. Deshauna writes, good morning, Nathan and everyone. Daycare costs too much. Daycare is so expensive. Man, that shit is expensive. I'm telling you, we was counting down the months literally to when we didn't have to pay not child support, but we had to pay daycare. Man, whoo, it's in the pockets. But if you're a working parent, it's like, well, how do you juggle both things? How do you do both? Like this generation, like kindergartners last year had a unique experience that kindergartners never had before in this country, that at least in my adult lifetime, I don't ever remember seeing it. So my son went from daycare and was supposed to go straight into kindergarten, but he didn't because of COVID. So he went from daycare to home. Just imagine the culture shock on him. He goes from an environment where he's around kids all day and is structured around him to being in a house with 2 working parents who are working during the day. You know what I'm saying? We're not children. I don't play kids games. So it's been tough on kindergartners. It's been real tough on them. Their whole school experience has been interrupted for kindergartners. They didn't get what you got. They didn't get what I got. They didn't get what a lot of people get. And that's that smooth transition from preschool into kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't get that. It's and we don't know what that's going to mean moving forward. What does that mean for his first, second, and third, most importantly, assessments? We'll find out. We'll find out together. But daycare is so crazy expensive. And what happens is you got people who, because of federal poverty guidelines, they qualify for vouchers. I wish we qualified for some vouchers because I'd take them. I'm going to tell you straight up, give me the vouchers. quickly. And I think that the poverty guidelines should be higher, in my opinion. You got a lot of working poor people out there. In my opinion, if you are anywhere close, if you're anywhere near $20,000, $30,000 of the federal guideline, then you damn near living in poverty, in my opinion, in this country. So you got a lot of folks who are working, but they don't really have enough money to really afford daycare. Now they can pay for it, but that means they're taking money from other things, and it's keeping them perpetually poor. It's the truth. There's a lot of folks out there that don't qualify for it, that should qualify for it. That shit is a hella expensive. Man, listen, we were dancing, not literally, but we were very happy from a financial standpoint when our son was no longer in daycare. Very happy. Very, very, very happy. Let me say it again. So I get it. My question is, where is dad? Where's dad at? Where's dad? Dad's supposed to be with the kids. She goes to the pizza parlor to get that money in, right? Probably working for slave wages, because the minimum wage is way too low. It's way too low. In today's world, it's way too low. Deshauna writes, good morning, Nathan and everyone. Daycare costs too much. Absolutely. Brandon writes, we need progressive, not that middle of the road-ish. Real substantial change is needed now. I'm with you 100%. Brandon writes, where is dad? Damn good question, Nate. I feel you totally. Right. When I see this sister and what she was going through, my first thought was, where is the biological father of the children? Is it one father or two fathers? I don't know. But one of them Negroes should have stepped up, and maybe they're working. Maybe they're working too. But again, I don't know. I'm just giving you my thoughts about what I felt about it. And you got work conditions. And see, it's like you damned if you do and you damned if you don't. And see, I try to be consistent in terms of my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, for people who don't know, my mother was a proud Black woman. Very proud, intelligent, soulful Black woman who took a lot of pride in taking care of herself. And it was very difficult for her to go on the system. You know, we were definitely on welfare. You know, at some point, because of programs, we were able to move out into the suburbs, but we didn't have no money. It was a struggle. Like, I can remember times not having food. Okay, I can remember this. And my mother, and I think this is emblematic of a lot of people on welfare, she hated it. She could not stand it. She talked openly about it. It was the opposite of everything that she stood for, because she was a proud Black woman that wanted to work her way and make her own way. Like I said, my grandparents, her parents, proud, hardworking people that came up, migrated from the South, came up north of the Ohio River, looking for opportunities and trying to get the hell away from Jim Crow, right? That's who my grandparents were. And my grandparents' generation, in my opinion, was the last best generation other than us. Okay, them folks was completely cut from a different cloth. Can you feel me on that? Completely different. Their attitudes was different. The way they conducted themselves as citizens was different, and their work ethic, quite honestly, was different. But anyway, so I think that, you know, with this sister, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, in today's world, if you get especially a young Black woman who gets on the system, society will criticize her. Oh, you lazy. You ain't this. You're not that. Why did you do this? You should have been married. You know, making maybe some really good points. So, but then when you work for yourself and you out here making things happen, nobody's there for you. Hold on. Let's go straight to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, fam. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. First of all, I don't know how you're calling me wrong on Damon Lynch. I'm sorry, just as a man, you know, if you're a man of God, you shouldn't put nothing, you should put no healing powers before his. And that's all I'm going to say on that. You know, we can try to qualify, you know, how harmless weed is all we want to. If you run a church, running a church and running a weed shop does not make sense. That's not peanut butter and jelly. They don't go together. I don't give a damn what none of y'all say. So since we're going to have cognitive dissonance on that, that's all I got to say about it.
I think you're wrong.
Of course you do.
I think you're being a
of course you
too.
do. I'm not being a hypocrite.
Yes,
I don't go to church.
You're being a hypocrite. Let me ask you a question. When you get sick, do you go to the doctor or the hospital?
Depends on how sick I am.
So the answer is yes.
If I'm bleeding, I'm going to the hospital.
So the answer is yes, then, sir. Is that correct?
No, it doesn't. No, not necessarily.
No,
if I'm coughing, I'm gonna sweat it out.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you, do you go to the doctor if you get sick?
There are varying degrees and varying levels of sick.
So
what exactly are we talking about?
So the answer is yes, that there is a level, there is a degree to which you will find yourself seeking medical attention. Is that true?
I'm sure this will be a non sequitur, so I'll play. Get to the point. What's up?
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so yes. Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Okay, then. So if you can believe in God and you still seek medical attention when you get sick, then so can Damon Lynch. He can believe in God and also believe in giving people better alternatives when they get sick. What's the difference?
Because he's the leader of the goddamn church.
Which
not
means
me.
He should be doing it.
Which means he of all people should be pushing God to people. And that's what I'm saying. I told you, I knew this would be a non sequitur. I don't even know why you played.
Pushing God when God created everything that grows out of the earth? You do know that God created weed, marijuana, right?
I told you. I knew you would get into some goofy shit.
It ain't goofy. It ain't goofy. I'm 100% on target. You just don't like it. Did God create marijuana or not, sir?
I don't know. I wasn't
What you
there.
mean you don't know? What do you think? What do you believe?
I don't know.
You don't know. You do know.
There can be synthetic weed.
Now you want
to create that?
Now who's being silly? You know damn
I'm
well.
gonna match your silly with. I'm gonna match your silly.
I'm not being.
You know
I'm 100%
damn well
on the
no
target,
preacher,
brother. I'm 100% on the
why
target.
is there? No, you're not.
Haven't
no,
you said?
You're not.
Wait. Yes, actually, I am. I'm 100% on the target.
Go ahead.
There is no contradiction whatsoever with Damon Lynch believing in God and also providing alternatives to conventional medicine that's going to have less of an impact on your body and your health to his flock and to his parishioners. In fact, I think it's all in line with God's word. That's what a leader should be doing, helping people.
I find him to be a charlatan and a disgrace.
Oh, I get it.
That's
so
why
you got a personal
stop.
beef with him, and no matter what happens, you're gonna try to use that to nitpick and find some fault. I understand now.
I don't have a personal beef with the guy. I've never met him. I know somebody that goes to his church. I just think that's some weak stuff. I just think that's some weak sauce.
Don't mean nothing.
I just think that's weak sauce that a preacher would also own a weed shop. Okay, I find them to be contradictory.
What in the hell does that mean? Weak sauce.
Okay, I'll tell you what's weak sauce. Here's a prime example of weak sauce. How you won't accept the fact that being a parent of Walnut Hill students, you can't see the privilege that Walnut has because you're trying to look through it through two lenses, as a parent and as a newsman, and those are contradictory.
I don't
much
see the
like
connection.
the weed dealing preacher. Of course you don't.
But back
of course
to Lynch,
you don't.
I don't see the connection or I knew you was gonna come up with a non sequitur. Now that's a non sequitur.
Oh, no, it's not.
Oh, actually,
okay.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say about the weed dealer?
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say that marijuana
Dame
grows from the earth.
That's my nigga Dame up in Prospect.
Marijuana grows from the earth. It's of God, like everything that grows from the earth. Do you not understand that there are a lot of negative side effects to taking over-the-counter drugs? Maybe let's start right there. Do you not understand that? Are you aware of that?
Yes, Dr. Dean Odell.
Okay, so you are aware of it. Okay, cool. Because it sounds like you weren't.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading the comments, and I'm just like Robert Anthony and
you
Brandon.
deflecting. I
can't
know. I
wait to
get
see
it.
them. Listen,
It's deflection time.
I can't. No, I'm not deflecting. What was your question?
I already asked it, man. Let's move on to the next one. I don't like to backtrack.
No, seriously, I didn't hear it.
It's all good.
I honestly didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just
okay.
saying. I was just saying. I mean, I'll just pose another question. I don't want to backtrack, but let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you're dealing with chronic pain due to whatever, would you rather take some form of medicinal marijuana, whether it's an edible or you're smoking it, to alleviate your pain? Or would you rather take over-the-counter pain medicine? Now, assuming that both are going to affect your pain in the same way, which would you rather take for a long term?
Neither. I'm going to see Benny Hinn.
Yeah, that wasn't an option, though.
It doesn't. You don't get to control the course of my health.
Oh, okay. You don't want to answer the
how
question.
You just gonna give me?
I think
how you just gonna give me two?
I think you're afraid to answer the question, sir.
No, I'm not.
You're afraid to answer the question because we all know what the answer is.
No, we don't know what the answer is. If I'm okay. I'm telling you, I don't care what your health, what course of health you choose to relieve your pain. I personally have a problem with the leader of a church being a drug dealer.
That's because you have a personal beef with Mr. Lynch. We just uncovered that. That's why. There's no logic behind it. It's just your negative feelings toward him, and you're entitled to that.
Absolutely, gosh darn lootly.
Right, you're entitled to hate this man for no reason.
Exactly. Okay, there. Can we move on, brother?
Let's move on.
As our favorite band caller likes to say.
Yes.
Now, as far as Shania Bell, you're asking where's the dad? There's two places he's at. He's either in jail or he's equally irresponsible. And I don't want to call her irresponsible, so I didn't mean to say equally. He's probably irresponsible himself. She's 24 with a 10-year-old. I think you guys carefully omitted that part of the story. So that means she was getting it in at 13. Right? Yeah, so she's 24 with a 10-year-old. Either he was old as F and is in jail for statutory, or he's outlanning his business and ain't involved.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the issue with that, her GoFundMe, her mother is managing it. How the hell are you going to manage the GoFundMe when she wasn't apparently not comfortable enough in staying with you? So that this doesn't even happen.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you at then to prevent her from being arrested to be a babysitter?
Mm-hmm.
But now she done raised, 60 grand, I think, ain't it? Or close to it?
80.
It's 80 grand in 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And now you want to manage this account.
Actually, I take it back. It's 114,000. I'm looking at it right now.
114,000 in 2 or 3 days. But you couldn't let her stay with you though. But now she got some significant bread. You're like, oh yeah, baby, come on back.
Right. Right.
Let's not forget how foul mom is in this, because apparently the daughter's going to be okay after raising 114 grand. She's going to be able to get a paid lawyer, not a public pretender. She's going to be able to get a paid lawyer who's going to probably get it, reduced to some nonsense, some parenting classes, blah, blah, blah. And, basically a diversion like they do for first offenders. And she'll be okay. She'll get a nice little jump start. She won't be able to sit back for life, but she'll get a nice jump start. But like, how's mom all of a sudden coming back in the picture? That's foul on her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. But hey, we can agree to disagree on Lynch. I would never want to go attend a church where the lead pastor also owns a weed shop.
Well, do you smoke weed?
I said my piece.
Do you smoke weed?
I said my piece.
Okay.
Sir, it's been real. I had fun.
So
always a pleasure. Take care, B.
Yeah, most deaf. I think you bullshitting. I don't believe you. I think you would enjoy going to a church where the pastor has a weed shop because you smoke weed. Well, why wouldn't you? I think you're a hypocrite on that, sir. But again, we can agree to disagree. That's an interesting take about the mom. You're getting all deep with it. And that's what I love about the choppers. Chop it up for me. Before we go any deeper in the show, though, a couple of words from today's sponsors, okay? A great way of supporting Nathan Ivey Show, I'll keep saying it, is to support the people that support the Nathan Ivey Show. If you find their services, something that you need. Okay, we got John calling in. We'll get to John in just 1 second, John. Sit tight for me, brother. All right. So again, as I was saying, a great way of supporting the Nathan Ivey Show is by supporting the people that continue to support this show. All right. Including the Wellburn Experience. If you're looking for a dream home, if you're looking for a commercial property or a rental property, then give Otis and his team a call this morning at 513-252-1055.
It's that well-born experience. It's that well-born experience. The well-born experience. 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 It's that well-born experience. The well-born experience. That well-born experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you're happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Otis, the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the well-born experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional and from his conversation. You can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure. Yeah. And just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go on, call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055. 513-252-1055. thewellburnexperience.com. There is a link in today's description, and you can use that link to go directly to their website. If and when you do, when you get hooked up and contact Otis and his team, please let them know that you heard about it on the Nathan Ivey Show. All right. Many thanks in advance, and they'll take care of you. We had Otis on maybe like a week ago. He zoomed into the show. I believe he was in Michigan at the time. And we had a great conversation for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. And he was talking about the various things that services that his team offers, and also giving us some insights into, just real estate in general. All right. So check them out. Also, we got a brand new promotion we're going to be doing with IMG BAT. And some of you might remember we played this with you last year. It's called Mystery History. And so essentially what will happen is I'm going to play a clip from an iconic, primarily Black person from American history. All right. What I'll be asking you to do is to listen to the clip and then just tell me, who it is. And the way it'll go, we're going to run this starting tomorrow. So we'll run it for an entire week from Friday to Friday, starting tomorrow. All right. And the good folks at imgbat.com, they do handcrafted jewelry and art. This is locally Black owned. As you can see up there on the right-hand side, just a little bit of an image, not a little bit, but an image of one of the pieces that you can check them out. There's a link in today's description as well to imgbat.com, and you can check it out for yourself. So I'm looking forward to this. We're going to kick this off tomorrow. We'll do it for a solid week every single day. And for right now, we're going to do one winner, but who knows? We might open it up so that there's multiple winners starting next week. We'll see how it goes. It'll be real simple. Very, 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 very simple. Okay. All I'll be asking you to do is to tell us who is the person. Just give us a correct name. If you give us the correct name, that will automatically register you for a $50 gift card. And the way it'll work is essentially it'll be a code that you can use at imgbat.com. And when you check out, it'll deduct the $50 or add $50 to your cart. Okay, sounds pretty simple. So check them out this morning, imgbat.com.
and get a sense of they got some really nice pieces. Like if you're into handcrafted, one-of-a-kind jewelry and art, check them out this morning. Go to their online store and maybe, I don't know, scope out some pieces that you might want for yourself. And then make sure you tune in the show tomorrow and you listen and you play to win. Okay. And what'll happen is what I'm hoping is we'll get a lot of people to give us the right answer. And then we'll randomly choose from those people who is going to be the winner. As I said, for right now, we're just doing one winner. Let's see how it goes. There's an opportunity, though, that we might have multiple winners, okay? So the prize won't be the same. I mean, the first prize is going to be what it is, but the second and third prizes may be significant, okay? So it's called Mystery History. That's the name of the game, presented by imgbat.com. And again, there's a link in today's description, and you can check it out for yourself. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We played, hold on, let me make sure. Got a little something on my sweater here. We had a lot of fun with that last time we played. Okay, there it is. Yeah. We had a lot of fun with that last time we played, and it's real simple. Just listen to the audio clue. I might even give you a clue this time, because the last time we did it, I think we stumped some people, and it should be a lot of fun. You'll learn something about history and get a chance to, win something dope from a Black-owned handmade jewelry store. All right. So let's get back to it. 513-873-7134. Good morning, everybody. Hey, John, hold on for me, buddy. Hold on. I want to get back to the choppers. Let me see. No ride or die. Sorry. So you ain't doing no ride or die like Lakita Cole? If you haven't heard about it, Lakita Cole, who a lot of people know that name, she was a member of city council for many years. And she was arrested, accused of hiding a suspect who is a suspect in a traffic crash death. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if this man involved, his name is William Cromwell. I don't know if he committed a crime or not. All I know is what's being reported. And my question for you is, are you in a ride or die relationship? Would you ride or die? That's what I want to know. Would you ride or die? Jane writes, good morning. Hey, Glenn writes, morning, Nate, in the Facebook choppers. Flows rated E for everybody. Yolanda writes, good morning. What was Fame talking about? Fanon Rucker should be the Hamilton County prosecutor. I mean, these folks in this city, or this county, shall say. Vernon writes, morning, Nathan Ivy, good morning to you. Roy writes, good morning. I reconnected with a longtime listener who had disconnected from the show, didn't even know that I was still on. And somebody was on Facebook trying to hate on your boy. And inadvertently, you doing me a favor. You letting people know I'm out here. So I wasn't surprised by it. I've learned not to be surprised now. But when you do a show straight to Facebook, and you kind of think, okay, if people want to find you, they'll be able to find you. But it just goes to show you that the world is really, really big. It's small, but it's really, really big. And not everybody knows what you're doing. So please take a second to like, in particular, share today's show. If we can get 100 shares on today's show, that'll be pretty dope. I can't tell you, I could tell you what that means in terms of the potential audience size if we could get 100 shares. But that's what my goal is, okay? And the reason why is, just within the last 24 hours, I just reconnected with somebody who was like, Nate, I didn't even know you was on the air. You back on? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm on the best radio station in the world. My own, right? The Nathan Ivy Show radio station. There it is, CDM. That's the best in the world. And you can check out the show, the video or the audio. You can go to nathanivy.com. And I'm live streaming from Sin Digital Media's page every single show I do. And check out our podcast. All right. Yeah, I appreciated it. Even your haters are on the team, man. Even the haters are on the team. They don't know it. They don't mean to, but they're inadvertently spreading the good gospel about the show. Please keep doing it. I appreciate it. Thank you in advance. Lisa writes, ride or die. Yep, ride or die single. Brandon writes, tell us the story, Nate. My Lakita Cole story. So Lakita Cole, I'll tell this for the umpteenth time. So I'm in corporate radio. I think I'm sitting on Sister Speak with Jerry Tolliver. Matter of fact, I know that's what it was. Jerry asked me to come on, so I'm doing Sister Speak with Jerry Tolliver. And this is way, 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 way back in the day, right? Because at this point, Cranley was just running for mayor. He wasn't mayor yet. And it was his first mayor campaign. And, you know, the big conversation back then was all the black folks that was trying to sell John Cranley to the black community. We don't talk about them folks no more, but there was a lot of black folks, some people that still got a name right now, that was riding super hard for John Cranley. Now everybody's like, they want to disavow John Cranley in the light of day. But there was a conversation being had where these black folks that was stumping for Cranley was being criticized. So I'm doing a show with Jerry Tolliver. We're doing Sister Speak, and John Cranley comes up, and I do me. I can't remember what I was saying about him. It was something. And I'm going hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm going hard in the paint. You know, some straight Olajuwon type of stuff. You know, hitting him with the dream shake and everything. And I don't know. I mean, I can't remember what I said, but Lakita Cole called into the show. And she was on some I'm going to defend John Cranley type of stuff. So, you know, me, I mean, say what you got to say, sis. I mean, hey, it is what it is. But I made a comment about how, you know, she was calling from like 2 inches inside of John Cranley's colon or his ass or something like that. I can't remember if it was colon or whatever it was. It was hella funny. It was hella funny because it was true. You know what I'm saying? I mean, here I am talking about John Cranley on Sister Speak. She calls up on some defending John Cranley type ish. She got all mad about it, right? And I guess at the time I really couldn't understand it. But afterward, I was like, I guess I can understand. She felt embarrassed because I hit the target. You know what I'm saying? When you hit the target, people really get mad. You know what I'm saying? Like you say something and it's true. That's when people, like when you say something that's not true, that don't mean shit to nobody. But when you hit the target, that's when people get really upset. So I hit the target. You know what I'm saying? I'm good at it. And she got super mad. I'm just doing my job, Nate. I had to tell her, I'm just doing my job. John Cranley called into the show that day. He was not Mayor Cranley. He was just candidate Cranley. Nate, you think you're wrong? I'm like, I don't fucking work for you. You just shut your ass up. Talking about what you think. I don't give a damn about what you think I'm wrong about. So what? Right? I said something like that. And then I remember I went down to the Democrat Party election party. I always have like a party, you know, after the election. It was downtown on the Banks. I forget the name of the bar that's right there on the corner. I could see it in my mind's eye. And when I got down to, I remember Smitherman was down there. Some of Smitherman's folks was down there acting weird and shit. And I remember going inside. I saw Lakita Cole. I'm a nice guy at heart. Anybody that knows me will tell you, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm super friendly. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I always like Lakita. I don't want her to think anything negative. So I went over to her. And I don't know if I was apologizing. I think I was more trying to explain to her. She was all in her feelings. You know, she called herself letting me have it and whatever. She had some dude with her. I don't know if it was her boyfriend at the time. I thought I was going to have to step on his ass. He was talking. I mean, this little tough talk don't mean nothing to me if ain't nobody swinging. You know what I'm saying? You can take that on somewhere. But she made this little scene or whatever. I just looked at her like, damn, sis, you really in your feelings about this. And that was it. And I just got the feeling that, you know, she couldn't stand your boy because I meant what, like I said, she was calling in from 2 inches inside of John Cranley's rectum. Don't do that. We don't need you calling in white splaining for him. Let him explain for himself, sis. Simple as that. I remember somebody sent me a message like, yeah, that's why she let you have it. Somebody was watching it or something. I'm like, oh, did she? Yeah, she let me have it. It's always funny when people think they're telling you off. That don't mean a goddamn thing to me at all. You can say what you want to say as long as you ain't getting hostile. Go ahead. It ain't going to change what I say or think or do one bit. But if that makes you feel better, you go right ahead and get it all in. Get it all in so I can see what it all looks like. You know what I'm saying? I had a great time. So I went back to partying. You know what I'm saying? It was a few folks down there that I, you know, knew or recognized. Shit, I went back to doing my thing. It was simple as that. But that was the last time that I ever had like a face-to-face conversation with Lakita. And I'm sure to this day, she can't stand me because I hit the target. It's simple. And now I was right. All those people were right who were criticizing members of the black community that was stumping for Cranley. All those people were right because Cranley ain't done a damn thing for nobody except for the developers since he's been in office for 2 terms. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So I was right. All those people was right. Yeah, I do need a little. I think it's in the sink. Thank you, black woman. She's getting tea for your boy. Wait a minute, my mustache looking a little weird right there. Yeah, so all those people was right. All those people was like, well, Cranley, why are you selling Cranley? Remember this? Y'all might have forgot. We going back like 8 years ago. I got a long memory. You know what I'm saying? I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for a minute. And it was all on their feelings. Cranley went and did a goddamn thing for the black community since he's been in office. Not a damn thing. What has he done? I'm sure there's got to be something. He gave us the curfew. Yeah. He's real good at embarrassing black folks in high-ranking positions. Like, he is A1 at that. Like, if we need a training course or a free webinar on how to disrespect high-profile black people that work for city government, John Cranley should lead that. If we need a webinar on how to, I don't know, drop your phone in a hot tub when it looks like it's going to be, a request to release your text messages, he's A1 at that. He could write the book on that one. If we coming up with a webinar, or let's say it's an ebook, if we need somebody to write an ebook on how to make promises about lifting kids out of poverty, but then never do it, John Cranley is the best at that. Everything else, shit. Completely. What has he done? What is he doing? I don't give nobody no points for running around talking about corruption. That's the easiest thing in the world to do, because look at what's happened. But what has he done to move the needle for the working class community? What has he done to move the needle for the black community? I say nothing. I don't see it. I'm still looking for it. Like, if you see what John Cranley has done for our community, can you please let us know? Because I don't see it. And that's what she got mad at me about, some fucking John Cranley. You can't even make this stuff up, man. How you gonna get mad at a brother over some John Cranley? That's my job, Nate. That's what she told me that day. I'm like, sis, this is my job. This is what I do. Didn't you know who you was calling in to talk to? You knew who I was and what I was all about when you called into the show. If you don't want it, don't call in. I couldn't understand him. Like, I thought it was very unprofessional of her, but I mean, that was water under the bridge. I carry no grudges, but I do carry the stories, though. I mean, I got over it real quick. It is what it is. Nate's no different. Nat writes, tell it, Nate, weed is herbal medicine. Stop letting a white supremacist narrative control your mind. Shame on Fame for having a white supremacist narrative. That's that same mentality. They got a lot of brothers and sisters locked up over some damn green, over some plants. I have no problem with Damon Lynch or any other leader of a church. In fact, that is God's work. Don't let anybody try to tell you anything other than that. That is God's work. You know what I'm saying? Anything that would alleviate a lifetime of taking over-the-counter drugs for an alternative that could be cheaper and definitely is going to have less of a negative impact on your body, that's God's work. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Anybody say anything different, send them my way. I'll get them correct. Talking about. Yeah, what are you talking about? You got people out there with all kind of chronic illnesses, taking over-the-counter drugs, and the drug itself is worse than the damn illness that they were taking drugs to alleviate. That's where CBD oil comes in. That's where medicinal marijuana comes. There's just so much misinformation out there. Shame on you, Fame, for being a purveyor of misinformation. You should know better. You should know better. And you smoke weed. You told us that before. Damn hypocrites out here, man. My work is just getting started, y'all. Just getting started. I ain't going nowhere. I mean, because the world was just, who else gonna do this? Who else gonna deliver these flows every morning? Nobody. Others can try, but nah. Come on, bro. No, that makes no difference whatsoever. Talking about he's a holy man, and there's a contradiction. But you go to the hospital, though. When you get sick, you go to the hospital. The fuck? Makes no sense, bruh. Makes no sense. Mike Will writes, 10 is too young. I agree. 10 is too young. 10 is too young. This people, man, people are so generous. They are so generous. $114,734 is what she's raised. I'm on the GoFundMe right now. I can screenshot it for you. Hold on. $114,000. Damn. And you know why? That's because people have good hearts. That's all that is. That's the good nature of people. Look at that. $114,000. Damn. She had celebrities, like one of the co-founders of Quality Control, aka QC. That's the record label that brought you the Migos, among others. They're big time. Dude contributed like 5 figures. Can't remember exactly the dollar amount. You had athletes contributing money, and I'm happy to see it. I hope she gets $114,000. Man, listen, she should come out of that with some property that she owns. She used to come out of that. And see, the thing about it is, not only does she need a property that she owns, but she also needs a situation where she got a babysitter. Man, $114,000 with my mentality, 2 things are gonna happen. One, I'm leaving when that $115,000 or $18,000 is gone. I'm gonna have 2 things in place. Number one, a new business, a new way, a new revenue stream. I'm gonna create something with that, so I ain't got to go to the pizza parlor no more. We're gonna do our own thing. And then number 2, ownership of some type of property. Thank you. Ownership of some type of property. With $118,000, I think that's enough money to do that. You know, she can get herself a fixer-upper. Shit, put another 30, 40 into it. Now you got yourself something. Now you got, man, you can make things happen with $120,000. I'm sorry. The best thing that can come from this story for me is that we read a year from now that not only does she start her own business that's thriving, but that she also has a property that she owns. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you make a dent with $118,000. I wouldn't be going back to the pizza parlor unless I couldn't come up with a way to generate some kind of revenue. You know what I'm saying? But with $118,000, man, you can start selling t-shirts or something, do something to make as much money as you were making hustling pizzas, but you can do it from home. So now you with your kids. And oh, by the way, if you own your property, all you got to do is worry about property taxes and renovation costs or whatever else, your water, boom, you good. We good. I don't want her to come out of this as a renter. You know what I'm saying? She should come up with that, but you see, Brian writes, you make it happen, Captain. See, some of y'all just won't let these things go, will you? He's hilarious. Oh man, JD writes, it's hard to find evening and overnight care for parents who work second and third shift jobs. The majority of places accept vouchers are first shift. That's an excellent question, JD. I never had to look into that because we needed first shift, but I can see that. You're right. That I wonder in Cincinnati, how many places in Cincinnati offer daycare services overnight, second and third shift? I would imagine they could be very profitable because what about all those second and third shift parents? I could imagine that being very profitable and also kind of easy too because the kids are asleep third shift, right? They drop them off. You take care of them babies, man. Ooh, man, that's yeoman's work right there. Props to all the people that do daycare and take care of other people's children. I mean, I could not do it. I got nothing but love and respect for you folks. That is a huge job. And the people that do those jobs do not get paid enough money. Our system is so messed up, man. If you can shoot a damn jump shot, oh, you on top of the world. But if you out here taking care of the next generation, the future, they want to pay you slave wages, basically. They want you to be a slave, a debt slave. Hey, good morning, John. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivy. Excuse me, and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world, and yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome.
Well, you covered so many angles. Before I get to Rush Limbaugh, you were talking about the city council and the young lady that you had a falling out with and still haven't spoken to, it sounds like, in a long time. Excuse me. And I hope at some point you break bread and sit down and put things to the side, both of you, secretly and quietly, without all the distractions around you, because we don't need that, fighting among ourselves. You both are in the same industry doing roughly the same thing. It didn't make sense to move people forward and not see the, should we say, the division among us, which once again, it goes all the way back to slavery. Oh, they love it. Mr. Camp Cramley that you're talking about, he's on his way out the door. I believe he's not going to get reelected. He's gone. So, I mean, yes, you point out some good value points about how this guy wasn't in the best interest of black people. And some of us that we elect to these top offices and places are not in the best interest of our community too. So it's hard to find a candidate, male or female, black or white, that will fall in the best interests of our communities, because reparation is just around the corner. It's no way around it. People outside the black community, if you're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show, statewide, local, or around the world, it's coming and you can't stop it. Me and the older people, we may not benefit from it, but it's for our kids and our kids' kids. They owe us, and we're going to get it one way or another. And you can't stop this train coming down the track. So, Mr. Nathan Ivey, I hope at some point you will make a call to her. Sometimes we got to put our feelings to the side, step up as a man or a woman, and reach out to her and say, can we sit someplace quietly, just me and you, and talk? Because it's all about bringing our community together. Division and fighting, this is what slave masters always wanted on the plantation, and it's still going on today. It's funny how we as black people can't get off the plantation, and we constantly drink that damn Kool-Aid, and we got to get off the plantation. We got to come together, because when this reparation happened, whoever that committee is, and I'm going to be watching that committee very, very closely, whoever sits on it, and I might even throw my hat in the ring, send a message to whoever running that community. I will volunteer my time to work with you. You don't have to pay me. And I want to do it because I want to keep an eye on what they're doing and allow the community across the country to know this is what they're doing. So when things are said and done, they're going to make like they worked for the will. How many times we heard, oh, like the Republicans and Democrats, they always yell and scream, we work for the will of the people. No, you not work for the will of the people, Republicans and Democrats. You work for your pocketbooks. So be it local government or statewide government or federal, these politicians don't give a damn about us. They want the bickering and fighting to go on, division. When the dust settles, then they come take it over. And we can't seem to figure out, black people as well as white, because when black people are suffering, white people, you are suffering too. You don't get it. Those hillbillies that ran into that Capitol another day and another time. When we suffer, you suffer. But so, Mr. Nathan Ivey, sit back between now and the weekend, figure out a place and time you can meet with her, coffee or a drink, and put it to the side. Stress, hopefully you can allow her to hear her viewpoints, and you're allowed to hear, she allow you to hear your viewpoints, shake hands, sing Kumbaya, my Lord, have a drink, and off into the sunset. And hopefully both of you can sit back, or if you have gotten that out of the way, you will bring her on your station. And you don't have to recap certain things, but put it to the side and move our people forward. Enough of that. Okay, let's get to this rat, this devil, this harlequin, Rush Limbaugh. You think I give a damn about that guy? That guy was evil. He was evil. He was in the back pocket of Trump and Sean the Martian Hannity on Fox and Steve Bannon and all these characters that want to do what? Take the government down. It's nothing. I'm not surprised. His day just came. His day was coming, similar to my book. The chickens are coming home to roost. Yes, it'll be out before the year is out, probably early next year. But Rush Limbaugh is a product of divide and conquer. Everything I just talked about. He was a product of stirring the pot, dividing whites against black and blacks against white. And his product was all about, as Trump preached that crap for 4 years, you white people in charge, you build this country, why are they taking it from you? He preached the crap for 60-something years of his life. And now, wherever he's going, I don't think he's going up into the big sky. He's going down there with the devil. And that's where he should rest. Nobody told him to smoke those Fidel Castro cigars and blow that crap into his lungs. It catches up with you, and smoking whatever he smoked, as well as the liquor, it catches up with you. You know, the man, he was overweight. He didn't take care of himself. And it is what it is. The chickens just came home to roost. You lie and you keep lying over and over and over again. It catches up with you. And Trump's day is coming too. I cannot wait. So Fox and some of the networks, local, nationally, will praise this guy with the golden microphone. He can go to hell, all I care. This guy was a divisionist. He was divide and conquer. And no matter where he's at, which is probably in hell, and he could stay there, they're not going to let him go away. So Sean Hannity will beat the drum. Any other character that comes on there, and many characters, they'll praise him like he was this golden voice. This guy was a joke, a complete joke. So anybody that want to praise them, that's their business. I don't care. I know better. You think I'm going to post him on my site, purehistory.org?
Maybe.
No, I'm not posting him on my site. He doesn't deserve to be there. Just like Trump. During the 2016 election, the media gave Trump more media than Hillary got. She shot herself in the foot. She messed up on several states that she didn't go to, and Trump went to and won. So why do you give him that much press? Why? Why do you give Trump all of that press, making like he's something that he's not? We that lived in the New York, New Jersey area, we knew Trump for what he was, a snake, a scoundrel. And it takes 4 years for people to figure him out. It takes the world to figure out what this. He was a joke, a complete joke, Trump. So Rush Limbaugh follows into that footstep. I will not post him on my site. What for? To give him, make him out to be something that he is not. A division, divide, conquer. To me, he was almost like the slave master on the plantation. He wanted black people to go back to where they belong. Trump wanted that too. And the people around Trump wanted that. Trump was more like Hitler. Anybody that has on his nightstand before he goes to bed a book on Hitler, well, you see him for what he is. So Limbaugh off into the dirty sets of the devil, and that's where you're going to lay your ashes. And I can give a damn about him. Any comments, Mr. Nathan Ivy?
John, no comments, man. Thank you for the call, brother. Limbaugh. You said Rush Limbaugh. He is hilarious, man. John is a character. And John, for the umpteenth time, bro, we knew that Trump was a problem before he got in office. It didn't take us 4 years. That's the reason why I voted against Trump. It wasn't so much for Hillary. It was against Trump because I could see this. Sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes. There was nothing attractive about Trump as president at all. Zero. So you were late to the party and you didn't even vote in that election. You wrote in Zorro. So stop trying to change history like you knew he was a problem from the beginning. Because if you did, you didn't stop him. Crystal writes free Black Lion. Black Lion's been free. He jumps in here from time to time. He been free. He been free, man. John, he jumps in here from time to time, shares his piece. James writes, what's the contradiction? If you can't quote a script, then hang up. Eb writes, I thought the father has the children now. Is that true, Eb G? Begs the question, why didn't he have the children then? Baby girl got $115,000 now. I'm sure everybody want to help. Let me just get 500, right? Akeem writes, hating for no reason is an everyday thing. Yes, it is. Robert Anthony writes, they took the kids to the father. He ain't in jail. So people know more about the story than I did. So the father has the children now. Begs the question, why did it take for the sister to go to jail for the father to have the children? right? Because if he can have the children now, he should have had the children before she got in trouble. This is how I look at it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's an honor to follow John from Florida, also known as Zorro. But, Mr. Ivy, are you aware of what's going to be taking place tomorrow and beyond at the Southern California border?
No, I'm not.
Well, the first wave of an estimated 25,000 asylum seekers with active cases in the Remain in Mexico program will be allowed into the United States on February 19th. The plan to start slowly with 2 border crossings, each processing up to 300 people a day, and a third crossing taking fewer numbers. Now, again, Mr. Ivy, this is just the beginning, and this is only the 25,000 that have been waiting in Mexico since the Trump administration implemented the agreement with Mexico to stop the rush for the border. And so not only are we going to have a steady flow of these asylum seekers who have been waiting in Mexico for their cases, they will be allowed to enter the United States. And I'm asking you a question as a prominent, powerful, influential member of the media in Ohio. How many illegal immigrants or asylum seekers do you think the Ohio, Cincinnati area will be willing to accept? Because California will not be the only state that will be accepting these asylum seekers and these so-called children or parents separated from their children. And I just wanted to know, is Ohio ready for the influx of not only asylum seekers, but illegal immigrants and migrants coming up from Central America that will probably be arriving in March, April, or May? So that's the only question I have. And other than that, Joe Biden, again, he's carrying out the Obama-Biden remix because, again, there's legislation that Joe Biden is going to present. The only legislation is to give amnesty to these to the DACA group. Now, I don't know how other Black Americans feel who have been told that reparations is on the table. Granted, only with some committee, which we haven't heard of since since Biden was elected. Plus, we have not heard a word from the Lift Every Voice plan. So I'm just wondering, is Ohio ready? Because the Obama-Biden remix is in full effect when it comes to immigration. So, I don't know if you were going to talk about it. You probably weren't, but I just thought I would put that topic on the table considering I follow John. And before I go, shout out to the greatest of all time in talk radio, Rush Limbaugh. And I appreciate you addressing it in your monologue, Mr. Ivy. I appreciate you just telling people who the guy was and how he got his start.
No damn greatest of all time.
Well, it doesn't matter what you say, Mr. Ivy, because you're just one man with one opinion. But 30 million listeners a day, I think that says a lot more than you saying, oh, he ain't the gay, he ain't the GOAT, he ain't the GOAT. Yeah, all right, you can say that, but he is the GOAT. I don't care what you say. And there were Black people that you could have listened to in the 90s when you were in school, but you chose to listen to Rush. You chose to listen to Rush Limbaugh because back then his show was very entertaining. He had the homeless update. He had the feminazi update. And plus, he had Paul Shanklin, the comedian who did his parodies. And the number one parody of all time was the Barack the Magic Negro parody. And if your listeners want to hear it, just go to Anchor FM, to the Black Not Democrat podcast, and listen to the latest episode that dropped last night. It will clear up.
What Black person could I listen to back in the 90s? I must have missed them.
You had Tom Joyner. You had
Tom Joyner's
Steve
not a talk show
Harvey.
host. He's a disc jockey.
What?
I said Tom Joyner wasn't a talk show host. He was a disc jockey.
Tom Joyner had segments on his show where he discussed politics.
Yeah,
Roland Martin was on his show all the time.
Tom Joyner was spinning records. The number one thing he was doing on that show was playing music.
Okay, yeah, right. So again, that again tells you what black radio thought about the issues that affected black people. Not hair care products, not liquor, not the bail bondsman, not the check cashing place, but political issues that affect black people economically. There were no black talk shows that you could listen to, Mr. Ivy. I don't believe it because there are a lot of older black people that are still doing talk radio right now. They weren't out here in California where I was at. I couldn't get them, but in the urban communities, they were there, Mr. Ivy. You just chose not to listen to them. You chose Rush Limbaugh because he was very entertaining. And of course, you took a lot of his radio skills and you applied them to your career, which is nothing wrong with that. But the editorial part about the substance of his show and the product that he put out speaks for itself, Mr. Ivy. Almost 35 years on the air, over 30 million listeners per day. Unprecedented. Nobody even comes close. So he'll never be replaced. And it's just kind of ironic how all these events are falling into place. I get suspended from Twitter, probably permanently this time. Rush Limbaugh passes away.
Again?
Oh, I think it's for good this time, Mr. Ivy, because they erased Mr. Ivy. Black Not Democrat start dropping stuff, Mr. Ivy, and you know what they were doing with people who were putting out so-called misinformation.
Oh, you were one of those people? So you was putting out misinformation
no doubt.
And they blocked you and banned you?
Mr. Ivy, like you said, it's their platform. They can have on it whoever they want. But they didn't like what I was putting out. And I keep telling you, I was a habitual offender because you know how I roll, Mr. Ivy. I don't play. Even you. I even touched you with one of your Gilligans of the week with Tamaya Denard. You actually called me and asked me politely to remove that video, that Gilligan of the week.
Yeah,
and I did it. At first I wasn't going to do it because I'm like, "Who? Nathan Ivy? He's asking me to take it down." I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should leave it up.
Yeah, because you was misrepresenting. Because that's why. I mean, what you do on your page, you can do whatever the hell you want to do, but don't misrepresent me. I can speak very, very much for myself.
No, but again, Mr. Ivy, I had put out many other Gilligans of the week, and you had no problem with how you were represented.
Right.
But because it was Tamaya Denard, I understand why. But obviously, Mr. Ivy, the video probably was effective because if nobody would have seen it, your reputation wouldn't have been,
But that's what you don't understand.
It wouldn't have been affected at all.
It would have made no difference to me whether 1 million people saw it or nobody saw it. It just was a misrepresentation of me. I didn't care how many people saw it. I just want to be in complete control of my image and anything surrounding anything to do with me.
Yeah, but I get it, Mr. Ivy, but you didn't ask me to remove all the Gilligans of the week videos.
I had no reason.
You only asked for that one.
Yes,
but all the other ones represented you.
Right, but it didn't misrepresent me.
That did not misrepresent you. It was from your show.
In my opinion, it did.
Okay, all right.
Since we're talking about my perception and my image, it's my opinion that matters the most.
That is 100% true, Mr. Ivy, and that's why I obliged your request.
And that's why
I
thanked you because I know you didn't have to do it.
Thank you very much. Right, but again, like I said, Mr. Ivy, I am moving forward because you know, tomorrow it'll be Friday. I ain't got no job. I'm retired, so this podcasting thing and talking on the radio in front of a microphone, I'm getting used to it. Because it's one thing to call in and speak for 5 minutes, which is a long time for a radio call in. So I'm perfecting my skill set And I got maybe 10, 15 years tops, you know. So I'm going to do what I do as long as I'm able to do what I do. And again, I appreciate everything that I've learned and that I've seen from how you do your show, Mr. Ivy. I'm not going to copy you. I can't copy you. Just like no one could ever copy Rush Limbaugh. So on that note,
great way to sum
Drop
it up.
Squad 52. Yes. Huh?
I said great way to circle back around and sum it up.
Thank you, Mr. Ivy. Drop Squad 52, dropping science, Black not Democrat. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, burn in hell, Rush Limbaugh. That's what John said. Yeah, I wish you the best, homie. Hope it blows up. Be way bigger than me. That'd be great. Then you can help me out. Let me see where we at here. Let me get back into it, shall we? 513-873-7134. Jericho writes, I remember that show. Remember that show? From back in the day? She was heated. I mean, it was just another day in the office for me. I'm like, wait a minute, you stumping for Cranley? I smell shit. Somebody's calling from 2 inches inside of John Cranley's rectum. That's what it was. It wasn't colon, it was rectum. Maybe that made it worse. If I said colon, it's got a better image than saying rectum. I get it. Damn. Bad Nathan. Poison ivy. Isn't that what people saying? Poison ivy. Glenn writes, I remember that show. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kelly writes, good morning. Yo writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, yo. Susan writes, regarding John Cranley riders, yes, and one of them listens to Disrupts Your Show daily. Not saying any names. Is that right? Yeah, you had some people that was riding for John Cranley. Man, they had all these promotions. They was doing campaign ads. John Cranley. And I get it. You know, like when you in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to support a candidate, you do it. You don't have to do it. But what has John Cranley done for us in the last 2 terms? I'm sure there's something. I just can't think of it. I'm sure there's something. And I'm going to speak with John Cranley if he's willing to, hopefully before he leaves. And that's going to be the number one topic of discussion is, what have you done, sir? Why didn't you deliver with the See, I'm going to ask questions that, unless they're listening right now. Some people might be listening right now like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to beat him to it. Go right ahead. But when I talk with John Cranley, my questions are going to be different than when he calls into 700 WLW or talks to somebody else. My issue is going to be a little bit more targeted. What I want to know is, why did you give up on your promises to lift kids out of poverty? And if you did not give up on them, give us the numbers. How many kids you lift out of poverty? Because that was a significant part of his re-election campaign strategy. Never did it. And what exactly have you done to move the needle for the Black community, sir? I can't wait to hear these answers. I know what he's going to say. He's going to say something about COVID. Oh, well, COVID, we've been on the cutting edge of he's going to start he's going to start talking about his strategies, COVID and corruptions. I already know. And that's why I can't wait for the conversation. Let me see. Brandon writes, don't talk about that white massa. I don't think that's the reason why Lakita got mad. And again, John was like, I should reach out to her. I'm not reaching out to her. I did that already. Anybody that knows me, I'm a super nice guy. I wish the best for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind not being liked, but if I think there's a misunderstanding, I'll try to speak to the misunderstanding. If there's not a misunderstanding and it's just you understood what I was saying and you don't like it, then that's just being an adult. But I ain't about to, she don't give a damn. Lakita got bigger issues. She ain't thinking about nothing I said 8 years ago. She could give a damn. At this point, she's thinking about these legal issues. And I wish the best for her. I hope she comes out of it with no issues. I hope it don't affect her job. I know she's got a job. That's how the media does you, though. When it comes with the territory. When you in the public eye and people know you publicly, or maybe you were an elected official, when it shit hits the fan, you're going to hear about it. Vernon writes, I remember that, Nate. She was going to get her dude to fight you. That's still funny. I mean, it was the funniest thing in the world. I was like, really? I was a little bit outdone. Like, really? I was shocked. But I know how it is. You know, you dating a woman or that's your lady or whatever, and you feel like you gotta defend her, you gotta stand up and all this other kind of stuff. I don't care how tall he is. I get it. Believe me, I heard it all. I get it. I understand. I'm a man too. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. And I'm glad that things didn't, take a different turn. Because I'm a man of peace. These are for real enemies. These ain't for people that talk a little ish. That's not what those are for. Those are for people that's trying to threaten me and mine, or that's what I reserve those for. Everybody else, I give you grace. I give you grace. Go ahead go be peace upon you, my brother. Just keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. I kept it moving. And I might have had a beer and just was talking with some folks. And I remember Smitherman was down there, and one of Smitherman's people, aka his bodyguard, was down there. And I forget the brother's name. Who else did I remember seeing that day? Just whoever was running for election. It was a big old thing. So I went down there snooping, had a good time. Janice writes, sad to see that she was arrested for harboring her fugitive boyfriend. My question is, would you harbor a fugitive boyfriend or girlfriend? Somebody in your life. It could be your boyfriend, girlfriend. Maybe you got a deeper relationship. Maybe y'all just got a situationship. Maybe you married. Are you going to ride or die? They tell you, look, the boys is looking for me. Hide me out. Who is it? It's the boys. We're looking for Nathan. Nathan who? You know who the hell we talking about. He did whatever he did. We're looking for him. It was terrible. What are you going to do? What's the expectation there? For the wifey, I'm going to hide her out. To be honest with you, you're going to have to find her. What? Who? I don't know. Who you asking for now? You got a picture? Never seen him before. What else am I supposed to do here? Now, it depends on the nature of the crime. Because depending on the nature of the crime, I think that the best thing. But what's the best thing to do in a situation like that? So you're in a situation like Lakita Cole. Somebody, who is it? Sheriff Department, we're looking for somebody. We want to open up. We're looking for somebody. Is such and such here? Is he here? If you're a loving, caring individual and you're dealing with somebody you love, what's the right thing to do in that situation? Is the right thing to do to hide them out? Or would you recommend, after listening to what's going on, that they turn themselves in? You know what I'm saying? Because I can make an argument that the more loving thing to do would be to say, turn yourself in. Because, I mean, think about this. How long are you going to be a fugitive? Like, really, though, play this all the way out. Like, if you play this all the way out, boys is looking for you. At some point, your ass is going to be face to face with the boys. It ain't no problem. There's no way around it. Either you're going to go down there. Maybe it's just like one of those last night things. Like, I just want to get my thoughts together, get my affairs together before I turn myself in. I'm going to go down to the JC. Okay, I can see that. Boys knock on the door. Hey, we looking for such and such. Is he here? Nah. Because you want to give them a little bit of breathing room so they can get some stuff together before they turn themselves in. But the whole turning yourself in part is going to happen, especially if either turning yourself in or coming in contact with the boys, especially if you drive and or ride or have anything to do with any kind of motorized vehicle. If you're driving around in the city of Cincinnati and you got warrants, chances are something's going to happen that has to do with the automobile and you're going to get caught. Even if you're not driving, you could be in the passenger seat. If you are in a motorized vehicle and you got a warrant, they're going to find you. You are upping and increasing the chances that they're going to find you. So what's the right thing to do in a ride or die situation like that? The boys knock on the door. They're looking for your girlfriend, your boyfriend, somebody significantly close to you. All right. You don't know what's going on. All you know is that the person close to you just told you, they gave you a story. Could be the truth, could be not the truth. People lie in situations like that. People lie even to loved ones in situations like that because you know, they don't want people to turn against them, and they don't want you to think negative about them, or they just want to they want to conceal what's really going on until they feel like they can get a better hold of it. I understand it. But what would you do in a situation like that? What would you do? Let me see. Sean writes, do a segment on CBD oil, Nate. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will. Greg writes, it depends on the child. I stayed to myself sometimes when I was 10, rarely, but it happened. Kevin writes, I don't know about no harmful side effects from smoking weed. It's a carcinogen, but letting folks do what they do, if it don't affect me, I already about that. It is what it is. Smoking weed, smoking anything is going to have a negative effect to your body, to your lungs, your respiratory system. We know that. But they've got different ways of taking it. You got CBD oil that doesn't have the euphoric side effects from recreational marijuana. You have edibles, right? So now you're bypassing your respiratory system, but you're still ingesting it so you can still get that euphoric high, and then all of the medicinal qualities, right, and effects. I don't know about you, but if I had to deal with chronic pain, I would much rather get medicinal marijuana and maybe go the edible route than taking a lifelong of over-the-counter drugs. Because anybody who knows anything will tell you that those over-the-counter pain medicines, you take that for a long time, you're fucking up your system. You're causing yourself more harm. And that's the reason why the medicinal marijuana industry, I think the number one reason is pain alleviation, right? You got folks that's dealing with chronic pain, but they want to deal with it in a way that's more natural and less harmful to their body. So again, you know, if that's what Damon Lynch is doing, and that's what I think, you remember he came on the show a couple years ago and talked about it. Made sense to me. That sounds like God's work. I don't see no contradiction. You know what I'm saying? Every church should do that, especially if you got land. Start you a medicinal marijuana farm, make you some bread. You know what I'm saying? Get it in. Plus, you're doing something that's a benefit for the community, in my humble opinion, but that's just me. Danita writes, replying to Greg, 1, more and better low-income housing. 2, see our public school system raised from a failing district. 3, grocery stores that in and accessible in all neighborhoods. 4, youth employment programs. 5, healthcare centers reopen. A lot of us in the Black community were raised that way. Marijuana is a drug just like all the others. My parents were not here to defend themselves, but that's how I was raised. Jesse writes, she should open a daycare. That would be ironic. If she took that $114,000 and opened a daycare, I could see that. And that's a good little business. That's a great business. And now you killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So now your little one, right, has a daycare to go to until they become school age. And now you're addressing a problem that you yourself had to deal with. But opening a daycare is not for everybody. That is a big job, man. Whew. Rolando writes, but you can see she doesn't have a support system around her. Crystal writes, don't forget about John, Nate. Rolando writes, so she probably doesn't know better. Deshauna writes, I'll pay off my house. Janice writes, let's pray she doesn't end up like the Octomom. I know that's right. Jay writes, no, just over-the-counter drugs. What about opioids, antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs? Brandon writes, take that money and go to school, get a trade, invest in herself. Patrice writes, home daycare providers have second and shift openings. Is that right? Vernon writes, hell, Nate, she can start her own daycare. She could. Like 114,000. Like if somebody gave me 140, and in no way am I asking for, I want to work for everything I get. But if I had $114,000, in my circumstances, they're different than hers. But if I was in her circumstance, I think that's a better way of putting it. I don't know her circumstance, but from the outside looking in, I'm trying to start my own business. And then I'm trying to get me some property so I can have a place for my children so we're not in a damn motel. That ain't safe. My daughter's a little bit, she ain't mad at me, but I'm putting pressure on her. I put a lot of pressure on my children. Put a lot of pressure on my daughter. My daughter had a lot of pressure on her before she got to Walnut Hills. That's why I keep saying the privilege, the biggest privilege at Walnut Hills is the privilege that the teachers and administrators get because they're dealing with those Walnut Hills kids and parents. That's the biggest privilege. If you ask, I bet, and again, I'm going to go on a limb here. I haven't done this, but we've been having this what's the privilege at Walnut Hills conversation, and people just don't get it. I know I'm challenging the way you think. But the real privilege at Walnut Hills is the privilege of having the children and the parents there. Those teachers don't want to leave Walnut Hills. It ain't because of the building. It's because of the teachers. It's because of the parents and the students. That's what makes it so special. You know what I'm saying? 100%. So my daughter had pressure on her before she even got there. I'm putting pressure on her now because I want her to start her own business. She keeps telling me, talking about she want a job. I'm like, job? Start a business. You live in the age of TikTok. So yesterday or the day before, she was asking me, Dad, tell mom to let me get on TikTok. So what's the business plan, sis? Yeah, you can get on TikTok. If you're going to use TikTok as a business, what are you selling? What are you doing? You're not going to get on TikTok just so you can scroll through and look at some dumbass videos. If you're going to get on TikTok in this household, what's the business plan, sis? Because you say you want all these things. You want a car. You want all these things. All those things are possible. But why would you want to go work for somebody else when you can create your own thing from your own home and make just as much money? So I'm trying to teach her now that her age is very valuable. 15-year-old, super. She gonna be on TikTok doing something real soon. Watch. Something. That's a super valuable insight right there. I keep trying to teach her this. She's resisting it. So little Buddha or medium Buddha, you can get on TikTok. What's the business plan, sis? What are you selling? What's the service? What's the product? How does it make sense? Let's sit down and do a treatment. Let's do a plan on it. Other than that, your ass don't need to be on social media. For what? It's full of people just gawking and leaving stupid ass comments. If you're going to do that in this household, you're going to have to come up with something. What you creating? You're going to do like a movie. She loves to watch movies and do movie reviews. Do a movie review channel. Let's do it. Dad will help you. Other than that, hell no. I ain't got time for it. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. It's Kev on the cell.
What up, Kev?
Trying to make it. Today's a good day for another great day. Loving all this snow, man. For some reason, my child, who is actually a remote learner, is out of school. I can't understand that. That doesn't really make sense to me. But you know what? Everybody should get a snow day. I believe everybody should have snow days, man. Everybody that is listening currently, if you don't have a snow day planned anytime in your future because you're working remote or whatever, just call a snow day just because. The thing that struck me was the thing about smoking weed, and also I do want to speak on this whole Lakita Cole thing and whether I would speak up for some, or whether I would aid and abet somebody that I quote unquote loved. The thing about the weed, though, I don't understand. I really don't understand the push for folks to continue to smoke weed, right? And now I used to, or I have partaken. Unlike the former president, I did inhale. The first fake black president, right? I did inhale, and I do understand what the effects of weed are, and I guess some folks can get into that, and I understand that. But I don't think, like you said, putting any smoke in your body is a good idea. There's a reason there's a chimney in the house, and there's also another reason why you got smoke detectors all over the place. Inhaling smoke generally is not good for your system. Now, eating a substance that has an effect, especially when it comes to managing pain, that sounds like a great idea to me. But I do understand, too, from what friends have told me, I don't partake, but what friends have told me is that it's like really, really, really much more powerful in that form. So, but I just wanted to put that to look, if you smoke them, if you got them, I don't have a dog in that fight. I think grown folks should be left to be grown folks for the most part. And things like that kind of are innocuous and don't affect us in any way. It ain't got nothing to do with me whether you do or don't get an ailment from smoking, and it ain't got nothing to do with me. Now, I would ask that people stop buying that loud because I'm sick of not seeing a car for like 16 miles and I can still smell your weed when I'm driving down the street. I think somebody needs, if somebody really want to make some money, they need to come up with a really potent form of that drug that doesn't have a smell at all. That's what I think. I'll be very happy. I might buy some for somebody. I don't even know, but but pivoting back to Lakita, the bike rider Cole, that was a fantasy file back in the day. I'll just tell my truth, just because she was like in politics and riding out.
You said she was fantasy file?
You know, only because of the whole riding on ninjas. You know what I'm saying? And kind of having a little bit of Cincinnati power, right? Again, that's before I understood what Cincinnati power really means anyway. But I'm not harboring no prisoners, man. It's more likely they gonna find out where you at. And that's probably gonna be a bad look for both of us. I'm probably gonna tell you to, hey, it's a good time for you to leave. So keep your heads up. I'm gonna keep them busy at the front though. You might want to go out the back. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely not gonna turn you over, but I'm not gonna harbor you either. It's probably gonna be one of those, hey, have you seen this person? No. They're not in this house because, again, I done told you to leave. If you happen to stay and they say, can we look? And I say, yes, that's on you, Jack. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't think you're really going to save or do anything by, quote unquote, harboring anybody. And it's probably the same thing that if it did happen, I don't know. For right now, it's allegations, right? She's, I don't know that she's been convicted of anything. Nah, I don't think I'm harboring you, bro. I think if it's me, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, have you seen him? No, I haven't. Can we look? Yeah, you can. You should be gone by that time because I'm pretty talkative, and I'll probably be like, hey, what did he or she do? Well, not he or she, but what did she do? You know what I mean?
So I want to make sure I understand what you're saying, Kev. So let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and they hit you up and say, listen, I'm coming over right now. Something terrible happened. They get to the house, they shoot you and tell you, they got into a vehicular homicide or I got into an accident. I don't know what really happened. I just got scared. I'm at your house. Okay. Knock on the door. It's the boys. Hey, we looking for the same person that you were just talking to. What do you do in that situation? You turn them in?
No, I ain't turning nobody in, man. No, that's kind of not.
Or do you tell them to turn themselves in?
I'm probably gonna tell them to do that because where you gonna run to, man? Unless you got like unlimited cachet, where you gonna run to? That's the thing. If they know you and they're looking for you, the high likelihood is they're gonna find you. And what, you run into Mexico? We doing the old school cowboy movies or something. Other than that, man, if you're not going today, you're going eventually. You probably going to jail, unless you have the resources for an attorney or something like that. What I'm gonna do is, y'all know me, man. I speak my mind, and I'm pretty. Find the boys waiting for you at the bottom of the wall, but I really can't do nothing about that. The only thing I can do is I'll hold them up for you while you make your escape. But that's gonna be a series of questions like, what they do? You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Such a nice person, and we're gonna carry on until they say, hey, can we come in? But I'll stall for you. I'll get you some time. You can abscond. If it was me and I'm in the back room, I'll probably be coming up there like, hey, look, unfortunately, my car was involved in in some sort of incident. I'll be honest with you. When I hit the person, whatever, um, I freaked out and drove. Fight or flight kicked in, and I fled just because of fear. But let's work it out. I definitely didn't kill anybody on purpose. That's what I would do. That's really what I did. I would do. Nah, I did. That's what I would do. But you got about I'll give you a 5. Man, it's like back in middle school, bro. If I'm faster than you, I'll give you a 5-second head start. But you should get out that door and get up that road, man. Because at some point they're probably gonna say we'd like to search the premises, and I'm be like, have at. I'm just telling my truth, man. Because in the end, what's going to happen is they're going to either going to leave and they're going to come back with a warrant to look, or they're going to say they had probable cause to look anyway. They're going to look through through the house, right, or wherever you're at, and they're going to find that person. And then guess what's going to happen? They're going to charge you with aiding and abetting or harboring a fugitive. But I don't really want that other outcome. I didn't hit nobody. Why am I going to jail? That don't make sense.
I feel you, brother.
I ain't telling on nobody.
I feel you, brother. All right. Thanks for the call, Kev.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Be blessed. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too.
Snow day for everybody. Snow day for everybody.
Kev says he ain't going out like that, and snow day for everybody. He ain't doing it. All right, ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't mad at him. Everybody got a different opinion. I'm ride or die with the wifey, though. We gonna ride or die. I mean, she already know. It depends on the circumstance and what the charge is. But my response is gonna be a mixture of whatever I need to do in the moment to help you. And depending on the nature of the charges, trying to convince you to turn yourself in so that you don't get caught up in a bad scenario when they catch you. That would be my concern. So my first concern is, if it's the wifey, whatever I got to do to have your back is going to be done. If I got to catch a charge, I'm going to catch a charge. It is what it is. And then secondly, I just know me, like depending on the nature of the charges and what it is, I'm like, well, let's think this out. Eventually, you're going to turn yourself in. And so you're trying to buy time to turn yourself in? Okay, I get that. You trying to move to Mexico like he was in, like Kev on the cell was saying, that's a whole different thing. But typically, if you're not willing to make some big dramatic change in your life, there's going to be a scenario when you come face to face with law enforcement. And I can understand people saying they want to control it. Like they want to get some stuff together or have one last night out or get some money up or whatever they're trying to do before they actually, really? Okay. Whatever they're trying to do. I don't even know what just happened. Just a whole bunch of things just happened at one time here. Hold on, let me take this screen off of here because I think that's part of the problem too. Let's take that down. All right. Hopefully you can see me now. So you both end up in jail. What about the children? Janice, you're right about that. That's definitely a concern when you have children. It's something I would be concerned about, right? For sure. Because who's going to take care of my babies? Like I said, I got a 15-year-old and a 6-year-old. Who's going to take care of my 6-year-old? I get it. But I'm just telling you what my natural instincts would be. You never know what you're going to do to you in that situation. But I'm a ride or die with the wifey. At the same time, I'm a family dude, so I can't do things that's going to put the whole family in jeopardy. You did what I'm saying? So if I'm on the run, am I really even trying to go to the house? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that issue's deep, man. Anthony writes, you back. Great. Good. I just lost all my comments, though. You got me up until the next 12 minutes. Good morning to you. Angela writes, they put themselves in a compromising situation. They certainly did. It is a very compromising situation. We just got a call from a 607 number. Call me back. There it is, as if by magic. Let me go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. This is Donita. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Donita. Welcome. What's on your mind?
I want to address the privilege. I want to address the privilege issue. My thing is this. I just don't feel like student achievement and student success should be tied to parent involvement. I just do not agree with that. If a school has more parent involvement, that those kids get more. I get it. It's kind of a cause and effect reaction. You know, if parents are more vocal, obviously things are going to be done. But to me, when you're dealing with a public school system such as ours, I don't think it's okay to it's almost like, well, we know we ain't got to deal with some of these neighborhood schools because their parents ain't going to say anything. So we just don't give them what they get. But other schools where parents are involved, we know we have to do better. That's what I'm calling privilege. And that's what I don't think is right. I think across the board, give your best. And when I'm saying I'm talking about the school district. Give your best and give all the opportunities to every school, not just because of the schools where you're afraid parents are going to react. That is the problem that I have. And yesterday, it was funny because I posted a comment in the chat and you read it. And my comment was that Cincinnati Public had the opportunity to not deal with things on a blanket level, to deal school by school, because needs are going to be different in every school. And I said that to you on the phone in one of my calls, and you were like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but nah, everybody need to say virtual. But yesterday when you read it, you said, well, Donita, you're making my point because that's exactly what Walnut did. So why is it okay when Walnut did that, but it wasn't okay when I was saying all other schools should be able to do it? You yourself said, nah, everybody just need to stay virtual. What's the difference?
Well, I stand by that. You know, everybody should have remained virtual. And part of my reasoning behind that was safety, number one. And then number two, as I kept telling you, everybody has the same access. There's no issues. There was no conversation when everybody was virtual. There was no conversation about privilege or perceived privilege at Walnut Hills, which was part of my argument as to why everybody should remain virtual until everybody can come back, because you wouldn't have that conversation then. I blame the school board for going back and forth to open up that door for people like you and other people to make that observation and that criticism. So that's what I say.
That's the issue there. I think you're tying privilege into this remote learning versus being at school, or even this whole COVID situation, and I'm not. So that's the difference between us. I'm not just talking.
I didn't even bring up privilege. In my statement I just made, I didn't even mention the word privilege.
What I'm saying is, I think when you hear me say privilege, it's like you're trying to tie it to the situation that is now, and that's not what I'm addressing. I'm addressing, like I said, the privilege that it seems to be where schools have big parent involvement, those schools get more. And the neighborhood schools who might not have as much parent involvement, they get what they get, and it's almost like whatever. It's like, I know, and when I'm saying it's like the district knows they have to do more at some schools because those parents ain't going to allow them not to do more. And to me, that should never be the attitude. There are 82 schools in Cincinnati Public Schools. You don't just work hard for the ones where the parents make noise. They should be working hard for everyone. So for me, it has nothing to do with distance learning or remote learning. It has nothing to do with that. When I'm saying privilege, I'm saying in the district as a whole. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, you stretching this privilege conversation out way farther than where it initially started. So where it initially started, I was talking to Gragston, and Gragston made a comment about the privilege of going to Walnut Hills. And I said that the real privilege at Walnut Hills is the privilege that the staff has in having those children, those students, and their parents at that school. That was the initial statement that I made about the privilege, because a lot of people look at Walnut Hills and they think it's the bricks. They think it's the staff. That's not the privilege. The privilege is you got a high concentration of that demographic of students and parents. So that's where we started. And now you're where you are with it now. So I just want to make sure I reiterate it so people who are coming in late know where we coming from and where we started.
What I'm trying to explain to you, Nate, is I've always been where I was. You weren't looking at it from my perspective. My perspective on the privilege has never changed. Even before all of this conversation about whether or not they should go remote, whether or not they shouldn't, every time we have a conversation about schools, I've always said the crown jewels of the schools get more. I've always said that. You yourself even asked me, well, what do I mean by the crown jewel? That was before the whole conversation of whether or not Walnut would go back at all. That was before that. So that's what I'm telling you. My position on privilege has never changed. So I think maybe you misunderstood the context in which I was saying privilege.
No, I didn't misunderstand it, but you're changing it to suit your purposes.
That's what I'm telling you.
You're changing the conversation and the context and the history of the conversation to suit your purposes. What you thought about privilege was a response to what I said to another caller. And so that's why I just reiterated what we were talking about, because you've now stretched it out to something. You've now stretched it out to be something that you're taking the conversation a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? You were responding to what I said. Hold on a second. I want to make sure we understand this. You were responding to what I said to Graxton. I wasn't responding to what you said. When you called up after Graxton, you were challenging what I said in response to what he said about privilege.
No,
I wasn't challenging what you said. That's how this whole thing started.
No, it was not. Even the comment yesterday, go back and watch your show. The comment yesterday about privilege came from me, not Graxton. What I said to him was, he was making a comment about something else, and I said to him, hey, I saw your comment in the Walnut Hills alumni chat, and I noticed nobody could say that you were wrong about the privilege. You read that, and then you went on something. You didn't even, so that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. You read my comment to him, which had nothing to do with your two conversations. My conversation to him in that chat was about the chat that was going on the Walnut Hills alumni. And that's exactly what I said. And then you read the comment and you spun it to what you was talking about. That's not even what I was saying. And all I'm telling you, and I have not changed my position, what I'm trying to get you to understand is my thing on privilege has nothing to do with whether or not Walnut Hills is allowed to stay virtual and everybody else isn't. My thing about privilege, and it always has been, and I've always said it every single time I call your show, when we talk about the differences in Cincinnati public schools, is that the Crown schools receive more. And I don't think that student achievement and student opportunities should be tied to parent involvement.
And that's where you're changing it. That's how you're changing it. Okay. So you're talking about what happened yesterday, but this conversation about privilege started last week. And that's why we wanted to go. And you keep bringing it up. Okay. And that's why I had to bring it back up to put it back in the proper context so that people know what we're talking about and where this conversation originated from. On that day last week, when Graxton made that comment, I made my comment. Then you called in and started to argue with me and tell me about how the privilege didn't start with the kids today. The privilege started with the kids back when you was in school. And we had this whole conversation about what we were really talking about. That's where it all started. What happened yesterday, I read a lot of comments. I really don't remember. I kind of remember reading that. But I think you're stretching it out to make a different point, which is okay. But I want to make sure that people know where we started from.
Okay, so let's go where we started from. If you want to even go back to last week, I started the privilege conversation in the chat, not Graxton. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. I said that first. That's where it started. So again, when I said privilege, that was a conversation between me and him. When he called you, you all changed it to about them going remote. And that was never my conversation of it. So what I'm trying to get you to see is we were talking privilege in two separate instances, and that's okay.
Right. But what I'm trying to get you to see is that I wasn't aware of your conversation in the chat. When the conversation was brought to me, and we're talking about last week, it was brought to me when I had the conversation with Paxton. I made my comment about what I believe is the real privilege, and I stand by that. And then you called in and started arguing with me about what you think the real privilege is. In that conversation, I asked you, do you have children? First, you started the conversation by saying that the achievement levels at Walnut Hills High School are not what everybody think it is, which I didn't really understand, because when I asked you where you're going to send your kids, you said you're going to send your kids to Walnut Hills. I thought it was a contradiction. Then you took the conversation about where the real privilege is and said that the real privilege was started by the students that was at Walnut Hills 20 years ago, which again didn't make any sense to me. So however it started, when it came to me, that's when it came to me. But I still say this, sis. I think you're stretching this conversation out way past its usefulness. But I'm here for it, though.
Well, I'm not going to rehash everything because I think you're missing pieces. You're not going to see it, so that's fine. But again,
not going to see it. You're right.
And when I said that they are enjoying the privilege, I did not say from my class 20 years ago. Did not say that. I said from the alumni, the same way that I benefited from the privilege of I graduated in 93. I got the privilege from the class of 1963. It's always about those who laid it before you. That's what I said. I never said they got privilege from us. I said alumni, period. So the same way you was telling Drop earlier, don't misrepresent what you say. Don't misrepresent what I say.
Oh, I didn't. You just reiterated my point. You just changed the words.
You did.
So whether you said from your specific generation or you said the alumni, you were still implying or just straight up saying that the privilege comes from previous classes and it's not anything to do with the people at the school building right now, which doesn't make any sense to me. That don't make no sense. Okay, you're not sending your kids to Walnut Hills based upon test scores from 20 years ago. Anybody that wants to send their kids to Walnut Hills, you're basing that upon the current achievement that the current students and the current parents are delivering.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
no, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. The reason why my kids will go to Walnut Hills is because, to be quite honest with you, that just in that name, there is privilege. When that name is on a college application, that name is going to go above some of these other local schools. It just is. It's a fact.
And that's based upon what, Danita?
And you can ask anybody.
It's based upon what, though? It's based upon current achievement.
No, it's not. Because that was there before those current kids got there.
So, Danita, sis. So here's what you want me to believe. You want me to believe that if Walnut Hills currently, in terms of all of the statistics and achievement levels, if they were at an F level, you would send your kids to Walnut Hills based upon where they were 20 years ago.
But that's facetious because it's not going to happen.
It's not facetious. That's what you're arguing. And I'm trying to make you see that.
Wait a minute. But before you said, we're not going to deal with hypotheticals. Remember? So let's not deal with hypotheticals.
When did I say that in this conversation? What are you talking about?
You said that to me before. Whenever I give you a hypothetical,
let's just deal with this conversation right here. We're already dealing with hypotheticals because you don't have any kids at Walnut Hills. So you can't talk about current experiences the way I can. So the whole thing is hypothetical in nature.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, sis. It is because you don't have any current experiences to draw upon to make any argument. I do. So the only situation that you can come up with is a hypothetical one. And so what you want us to believe, what you're telling me right now is that you're going to send your kids to Walnut Hills based upon something that happened 20 years ago. I don't believe that.
No, did not say that.
I don't believe that one bit. You are saying that.
I am not. I am saying my son will go to Walnut Hills for the privileges that are allowed there, that he will receive there. It has nothing to do with the current students.
It has everything to do with the current students. It has everything to do with the current level of achievement. Any school is only as good as its latest test scores. Nobody's sending their kids to any school, Danita. You're not going to send your kids to any school that's failing because 10 years ago they were achieving. Nobody's doing that. I don't care about no reputation of no school. You're going to send your school that currently is delivering high achievement levels. What they're doing currently, not what the perception was they did 10 years ago or 15 years ago. That's irrelevant. That don't mean nothing.
Did I say Walnut was failing? Did I say that?
I never said that you did, sis. No. But I'm trying to tell you that I don't believe what you're saying one bit.
I never said Walnut was failing. I never said Walnut was subpar. I said Walnut is not at the same level that it has been. And that is a fact. That's not a hypothetical.
I didn't argue against that.
That's not what. That's not a what if. That is a fact.
We all know that.
Lower than what it has been. And even Walnut being lower than what it has been is still higher than other people.
That's the point I was trying to make to you last week.
And I'm not denying that. But what you said is I'm going to send my kid to Walnut based upon the achievement of the kids there now.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, that's not it.
And so I flipped it. And so if you're telling me that you're not sending your kids to Walnut or any school because of current achievement levels, what you're telling me is that no matter what Walnut Hills is doing currently, you're going to send your kids there anyway because of some perception. And I don't believe that. I do not believe that you would send your kids to Walnut Hills if Walnut Hills was failing. I don't care who went to Walnut Hills. I don't care what their history is. You are not going to want to send your kids to a failing school.
Walnut is never going to be failing, so that's not even a point.
It is the point.
That's not even.
It is the point, and you're missing it. It is the point, and that's why I keep telling you, the prestige at Walnut Hills is based upon the achievement of the current students. That's facts, and you keep saying it's not.
You're wrong. It's not.
Then what is it based upon then?
It is based upon the tradition of the entire school.
It ain't based upon no damn tradition.
Excuse me?
I didn't send my kids. My daughter is at Walnut Hills because Walnut Hills is currently achieving. If they weren't, it wouldn't be so attractive. That's any parent. Any parent.
That's right. Okay.
That's not just me. That's any parent.
You ask parents why they send their kids to Walnut Hills. Let's do it.
It's because of current achievement.
Okay, you know what? We're going to do a Facebook post. We're going to do
you're going to do a Facebook post. I already know.
Okay, and we will see what people say. We will see what people say.
Go right ahead. It ain't going to change nothing, but go right ahead and do what you feel like you need to do. But I'm telling you, that don't even make sense what you're saying, Danita. You need to take a second, sis, and really think about what you're saying. Because I think you've got a point. I think there's a point in there somewhere, but it ain't coming out. What you're saying to me is it goes against the grain of common sense.
Okay. Well, this is what we're going to do, Nate. I'm going to start a poll in the Walnut Hills alumni, and I'm going to add you to it so you can see what people say. And we'll go from there.
You don't have to. If that's what you want to do, I can't stop you.
Like I said, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe
I'm telling you you're wrong. You don't even have to do all that. Just listen to what I'm telling you.
Let's just see. What's the harm in seeing? I know plenty of people who went there who have kids there, and we will ask them why you sent your kids there, and we'll see what they say.
I'm not really sure. I mean, that's the other thing. I think that if you're trying to get an accurate response based upon what we're talking about, the way that you word the question is everything. But I stand by what I said. I mean, parents can chime in if they want to. Like I said, nobody's sending their kids to Walnut Hills based upon some statistics from 10 years ago. It's about what they're doing today. If Walnut Hills, between now and let's say 5 years from now, if Walnut Hills start to slip from where they are and start getting D's and F's, they wouldn't be as an attractive destination. It wouldn't be as attractive. It's about current achievement. That's what's attractive to parents.
Walnut Hills will never be a D or F. Walnut Hills
will never be a D or
F.
That's not even the point.
No, you're missing the point.
No, I'm actually not, sis. I'm 100% on target, and I think that for whatever reason, it's just not registering with you. But we can always agree to disagree, though.
Yeah, we can. But we'll see what people say. All right, have a great one.
Go right ahead. I mean, do whatever you feel like you need to do, but again, it doesn't make any sense. And again, that's why I keep trying to tell people. People think that when you go to Walnut Hills, like it's like Hogwarts. Like they give you a magic wand, and then they give you a secret code to a secret slush fund, and now you're part of the secret Illuminati. It's just another fucking school filled with human beings. That's it. There's nothing more to it. The magic, and I'll say this again, is what the students do. That is the magic. The magic is that combination of student, parent, and then teacher. That's what the magic is. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. And what makes Walnut Hills, as it would be any school, what makes it attractive is the current achievement levels. Who's sending a school? Who is sending a kid to a school building that used to be a place where people achieve? You don't want that. This is about those current levels of achievement. That's what currently makes it an attractive destination. If you lose that, it's like any other school in CPS. That's just basic. But if you feel like you want to put up a poll, you go right ahead. You go do whatever you feel like you need to do. Oh, man. All we can do is talk about hypotheticals because you don't have any real life current experience. Only I do. See, I can talk about what I'm currently experiencing because I'm currently a Walnut Hills parent. You are not. So you're telling me about what you remember from 20 years ago and what you think based upon what you see from the outside looking in and what maybe friends and family members are telling you. That's cool to a point, but it can't challenge what I currently experience on a first-hand basis. It's night and day different. And so when I flipped it so she could see it, she's like, well, Walnut Hill's never going to, yeah, maybe not. But since we're going to do this whole hypothetical thing all the way out, then let's flip it then. So if you're telling me that what makes Walnut Hills attractive has nothing to do with current achievement, which is ridiculous, that means that if you didn't have current achievement, that you think that parents will still think it's an attractive destination. And that just goes against the grain of common sense. That's the whole reason why parents want to put their kids in Walnut Hills, is because of the current levels of achievement. That's why we look at these reports every year when they come out, because people want to know where the school is currently. Nobody cares about where it was 10 years ago. It is irrelevant. We don't give a damn about what they did 15 years ago. We only care about what they did last year and what they're doing this year and what they're going to do next year. That's it. Nothing else matters. That's facts. Nothing else matters. People need to wake up and stop thinking you got Hogwarts in Walnut Hills. It's just a building full of a lot of very dedicated and smart individuals. In no way am I trying to ish on people, but they got the same problems at Walnut Hills as every other school. There's no difference. They still got a problem with black people. Black kids still got issues. So they got Karens and Darrens in leadership positions. It's the same as anything else. Ain't no difference. And they got a black principal. So please stop it. Please stop it. Because you don't know what you're talking about unless you know what you're talking about. Unless you've been there now and dealing with it. I don't care about the former principal. I don't care about what you remember from 8 years ago. I don't care. You can't challenge what I'm talking about right now. You're not in any kind of place to deal with that. So please stop it. We got to stop acting like these places are magic places. These are just buildings with hardworking humans that has all the ups and downs that humans have in any place. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do this. They're going to have their bias. You're going to deal with, implicit bias. You're going to deal with racial microaggressions. You're going to deal with you're going to deal with teachers that's at the last end. You're going to have to check mofos. It's the same shit-a-roo. It's the same shit-a-roo. You know what I'm saying? Quite honestly. So what makes it the magic is what those students produce. That's the magic. Period. And when you got highly functioning children, you can't have, in most cases, a highly functioning child if you don't have highly functioning parents that's pushing them and creating the right atmosphere at home to put them in that position. There's no doubt about that. See, I'm all about giving the props what the props are due. In no way am I trying to issue. There's a lot of good teachers and a lot of good folks that work in that building. A lot of good people, dedicated folks. Props to all of them. But it's like anything else. You got some good apples and some bad apples. I say you just don't have the benefit that I do. I've actually sat down with black and white parents and heard some of the firsthand stuff. Y'all need to sit in my shoes for a little bit. You'd have a different perception, a more realistic perception. You know what I'm saying? But all this magic stuff that Danita's talking about, please stop. I don't see it. I ain't seen it. My daughter was going to be great no matter where she went. She's going to be great. Because then she ain't got no other choice. She going to do it. She going to sink or swim. She going to do it or the home life is going that he going to get turned up. She ain't got no choice. Period. Living with me? Oh, hell no. As hard as it is to raise a child, As expensive as it is, you're going to have to be A1. I want to see the best out of you I can possibly see. And daddy ain't going to stop until you deliver. It's just what it is. But I understand that people have different perceptions. There's nothing wrong with that. Kevin writes, I guess my question is, you catching a charge, how does that help? I feel you, Kevin. I'm just telling you, man. I think a lot of people are going to criticize Lakita Cole for this. I understand. I get it. You know, that's your boo. Y'all ride or die. You make these decisions in the moment. Is it the right decision? I mean, from a legal standpoint, no, it's not. From a human interaction standpoint, I mean, like I said, I rock with the people who rock with me. So you already know what that means for the wifey. You already know. You ain't got to, all she got to do is shoot me a look. It is what it is. But it depends on your circumstance. You got young children and you got children in the household. Yeah, two adults can't be locked up at the same time. How's that look? That's going to be bad for school the next day, right? I get it. I understand it. But again, that's why I pose the question to you. Like, what would you do in a situation like that? Same exact situation. You know what I'm saying? Somebody close to you. Hey, listen, I just got into an accident. Listen, I just need I need some time to think. Okay. And I'm trying to get my money up. I got to turn myself in. These kind of things happen. And so family members and friends will give them some space so they can figure it out, maybe, get some money together because they looking at being locked down. They got to get some bail money up. They got to get some lawyer money up. They got to get some commissary money up or whatever. Get some affairs in order. I get it. I hope it doesn't affect her job long term. They got her all in the media talking about her job and stuff. I'm like, damn, you trying to get her fired now? So I don't want to see that. Is it a small thing? I mean, there are bigger crimes, in my opinion. But the law is the law. It is what it is. Kevin writes, now that you both locked up, you can't even help yourself, much less her. That's a very good point. Brian writes, let me put it in this terms. You understand, Nate, when it comes to the privileges that Warner Hills has, let's say LBJ is to Warner Hills as Anthony Davis is to kids wanting to go to Warner Hills. AD is a great player, but he most definitely knows the privileges. And so what's happening is people kind of hear what they want to hear. So that's why I took the time to reiterate what I said, because now what's happening is people have taken what I said to say that I don't think that the P word shouldn't come up with Warner Hills at all. That's not what I said. What I said is the privilege at Walnut Hills is the privilege of having a high concentration of that demographic of teachers and parents. So do with that what you will, but it's not going to shake me. I mean, I know how I feel. I know what I said. That's what I said. If people want to run that into, oh, Nathan thinks that there's no privilege at all at Walnut Hills, those kids don't have privileges. I've heard all those comments. I don't even know what you responded to. That's not the point I was making. I didn't say that. There's a lot of people who come from privilege who are at Walnut Hills. That's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? I've talked about the privileges that we have. Okay. That's a different conversation. But if you're asking me where the privilege is at Walnut Hills, I've already told you. And if you ask those teachers, they'll probably tell you the same thing. They know they privileged to have that demographic of students be at that school. Yeah, they know they privileged. They probably don't want to go nowhere because they don't want to deal with a different demographic of parents and students. So again, it's just it's a paradigm shift. You know what I'm saying? I'm challenging the local paradigm when it comes to Walnut Hills. Everybody wants to think it's in the building, it's in the history. I don't give a damn about no history. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the NBA. You're only as good as your last game. A school district is only as good as its last report card. Simple as that. If the report card starts to go south and it starts to hit a negative trend, guess what? The perception of that building, whether it's Walnut Hills or anywhere else, is going to change, which means that the current achievement of the students is what it's all about, period. That's how the state judges the achievement levels. I mean, we can have a conversation about whether those tests and prerequisites and elements that the state puts in place to judge the achievement levels is fair or not. I don't know. That's a different conversation, but I want to make sure people understand. Like I said, I have no problem with us disagreeing on what I said, but I can just tell from what Brian is saying that he's arguing something completely different. He's on something completely different. I don't know what he's on. But then let me go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
Yes, hello. You live on the air.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Maybe that person that wasn't to be live on the air. I don't know. Call me back. Again, 513-873-7134. That's an on-air number. It's amazing. That's an on-air number. I only use that for on-air and then some CDM business. But apparently it's gotten out. Hold on, I'm getting a text message here. Okay, thank you, Brian. Yeah, hopefully I fixed it. David writes, she is missing the point. She was missing the point. I tried to tell her. She's missing the point. Again, people, sometimes when you have conversations with people, they want to have the conversation that they want to have. It don't matter what your point is and what you really said. They want to twist it and make it into something else. So that's why I feel the need to reiterate just to, set that foundation for what I'm actually saying. Let me see. Lemmy writes, and Danita says she doesn't think it's right. But you know what? I mean, in a fair world, and we don't live in a fair world, but in a just society, then every school building would be the same and every person would be looked at the same. But as human beings, we're not always the same. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. What does that mean? That when you speak up and stand out, you're more likely to get your needs and interests taken care of. I mean, you can't hold that against a particular school, whether it be Warner Hills or anybody else, because parents decided to stand up. The real question is, how do you organize parents at every school to find their voice? That's the real issue. That's where the real work is. And I think that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a human nature thing. Let me see. Period. I stay involved with my children, plus I enjoyed it. Elizabeth writes, students get more because parents stay on the student to do more. Exactly. We stay on medium Buddha. I have been on her since the day she was born. My expectations for her are high. They are not low. I'm not on no dumb-ish, and she ain't on no dumb-ish. You know what I'm saying? Not with me, not when it comes to my expectations for her, because it's a cruel world out there. And like I've been telling her, I ain't going to be here forever. What you going to do when daddy's not here? So I'm raising you to be an adult. Hopefully she'll be an adult longer than a child. I'm not raising her to be a child. I'm raising her to be an adult, meaning stand on your own 2 feet, carve your own way in this world, make your own money. That's why when she came to me on some TikTok-ish, I'm like, TikTok? Why? What's your purpose? If you ain't at 15-year-olds coming up with some kind of revenue strategy, then what you need to be on TikTok for? And I say that because there's so many people on TikTok doing it. So if you're going to be on TikTok in this household, sure, you can. Go ahead, baby girl. But what's your business? What are you selling? What are you doing? What's the purpose of this? It's got to be more than just connecting with your friends and doing TikTok challenges, because I don't give a damn about that at all. I'm not moved by it. It don't mean nothing to me. It is what it is. She'll never be on TikTok until she gets 18, if that's what she wants to do. And what time is it? She's not listening to me now. She's in class. But hopefully she can hear me now. And she already know. It is what it is. So when you get a whole lot of parents who think like that in one school building, you're going to get a little different outcome. When you get a high concentration of parents that have the financial resources to be super, super engaged with the PTO, you're going to get a different outcome. And that's why I keep saying the real privilege is the privilege that the staff gets in dealing with that demographic of students and parents. That's where the real privilege is. Don't get it twisted. Yo writes, Nate, you got that look. I did. David writes, I got to make a move here. Oh, it's 10:23. I got to y'all. I got to roll. Listen, before I do, another word from our sponsor. I love doing this, so I could go on for days and days, but I won't. But I will not do that. So before we roll out of here, another word from our sponsors this morning. I want to give you an update on some opportunities that you can take advantage of, including the Wellborn Experience.
It's that Wellborn Experience. It's that Wellborn Experience. That Wellborn Experience. Experience. It's that Wellborn Experience. Yeah, the Wellborn
That well-born experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Otis, the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the well-born experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional and from his conversation. You can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure? Yeah, and just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
Again, 513-252-1055. 513-252-1055. There's a link in the description. Also, make sure you check out the show tomorrow. So starting tomorrow and for a full week from tomorrow to next Friday, we're going to be playing Mystery History. It works this way, okay? When you see this image, I'm going to play an audio clip from a significant person in Black history, all right? And what I'll be asking you to do is to simply tell me who that person is. Okay, we'll take all of the people that give us the correct answer, and we're going to do a, basically we're going to pull the names of the winners in a very random way. Okay, they got these apps these days. You can do everything randomized to make sure there's no bias whatsoever. And the winner, and this is all presented by imgbat.com, which is a Black-owned, locally Black-owned, handcrafted jewelry and art online store. imgbat.com. The winner is going to receive a $50 gift certificate, for lack of a better term. It won't be a gift certificate. Essentially, you'll put a code in. It'll give you a $50 credit. And there's a link in today's description directly to their online store. Go ahead and check it out, family. Check it out. Scope out some dope pieces. Scope out some pieces. Hey, maybe you make a purchase. But scope out some dope pieces and get ready. We'll be playing Mystery History starting tomorrow. All right? Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, there's a link to the online store in the description of today's show. So listen, that's my time, folks. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yo writes, Nate is stubborn, shaking my head. Well, it's not that I'm stubborn, although I am stubborn. It's just when you write, you can't be shaken. I know what I'm talking about. You know, I mean, if it don't make sense, I'm not going to say it makes sense just to pacify anybody. I'm going to keep it 100. Let me see. Her point is they all deserve the same public funding and care whether parents are involved or not. It's about the kids. All points are valid, but we have to remember it's about the children. Just my piece. Her point is something that was 1,000 miles away from what I said. You know, like I said, you know, you could take a conversation and change it and morph it into something you want to. That's why I felt the need to reiterate, which I've done 3 times this morning. I won't do it again, as to what my initial statement was last week. We was talking about privilege. So I've said it like 3 or 4 times. All this other stuff, nobody ever said anything. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. Like who's against the idea that every kid, every student should be, every school building should be treated equal? We all know that. That's not the conversation. That was something new that was brought up. Who would ever disagree with that? How you arrive at that is the real question. And I'm not going to fault the parents of one school because they're working hard for their kids. And you have other schools where you have less parent involvement. Nah, I'm not going to fault the parents. I fault the parents that's not involved. We need to come up with strategies to open the doors. And again, I've talked about this at length over the years. I won't get into it deep right now, but the strategy is figuring out how we can get a similar level of involvement from parents in every single school and a similar level of achievement. And again, CPS cares about that. I'm sure they're on top of it. But again, if anybody's going to twist my words, I'm fully capable of twisting my own words. Thank you very much. I got it. Dale writes, this is not a privilege debate. It's an accountability debate. Teachers are on notice because the standard of accountability is higher at Walnut because there's more parental involvement. Not saying other schools don't have parental involvement, but not the same level with the same amount of financial resources as Walnut. Maybe so. Like I said, I agree. We were talking privilege. That's not even the right word. Prestige? Yeah, is there prestige? Now that's based upon what happened in the past, prestige. Privilege, I'm not sure that's the right word, which I've made that point several times already. But I mean, everybody can think what they want to think. Let me see. Anthony writes, actually, in trying to chastise the school system, Sister Danita just condemned parents of other children for not being involved enough. She did. Nat writes, how did we get here? Because Danita can't let it go. For whatever reason, I think I must have hit the target. For whatever reason, she cannot let that go. She wants to hold on to her perceptions about Walnut Hills. And she holding on with two hands. I ain't gonna let go. It is what it is. You see, Stacy writes, I'm privileged to afford private school. That's one way of saying it, or you work hard. You know what I'm saying? But listen, thank you so much for being here. I gotta make a move, family. Have an excellent rest of your day, okay? Have an excellent rest of your day. I wish you the best. Thank you to all the listeners, to all of the callers. And I hope this mother finds some peace and some help. Her story is the story of a lot of single parents. There's a lot of single parents out there that don't have enough help, that don't have enough money, that are struggling. They are struggling. They have children and they are struggling with daycare. They're struggling to make ends meet. And that's why we got to push the politicians, man, to craft the kind of policies and agendas that really matter to the people. That really matter to the people, okay? Have an excellent rest of your day, family. I'll catch up with you real soon, all right? We'll catch up real soon. I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.